It's weird. Uh, I'm still my main on my horizontal scene. Oh, keeping track of this is gonna be gross. Okay. Yeah, it should be relatively. It should be relatively better. Uh, on the horizontal. It should be relatively like analogous. Um, I would need to do this though. Don't change it back. All my hard work goes to waste. We'll get to it though. We're gonna start not with this. We're gonna start with actually this because it proves me correct. Remember yesterday where I brought up Mark Cuban versus Mark Ruffalo, and I said how like Mark Cuban is what I would describe like a moral liberal, and like sorry, Mark Ruffalo is what I would describe as a moral liberal, and Mark Cuban is like what I would describe as like an ideological liberal, or like who's like a liberal because it makes him appear as more morally righteous, but he is just a billionaire. And when it comes to his class interests, he will more closely align with that and not like with like helping marginalized people in any like meaningful regard. Apparently, he said this like 2 days ago.
You should run as a Republican. That would fuck them up.
Oh, no, that's what if I was going to run,
Yeah.
that's what I would do. I can't win as a Democrat, not with
Yeah.
the DSAs and all that
No,
shit
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Right. And oh,
yeah.
by the way, speaking of Medicare for All, I read Al Said's book on Medicare for All. It's not bad. He has a lot in common with Trump on some of his positions on drugs. But, you know, it wasn't a bad book. But in any event, I think people just look for things that are
Right.
not what is, they're looking for something different.
Right, right. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Went from the Tea Party to, change it, hope and change, Tea Party, Trump, not Trump, J6, now DSA, anything that's different. It's just like what people said to me about Trump. Trump won. I had a buddy I played basketball with, and I'm like, I know this guy, yada, yada, yada. He's like, let me just tell you something. I've been voting for politicians my entire life. You know what they've done for me? Nothing. Why would I vote for a politician again? I've been voting for Democrats my entire life. You know what they've done for me?
Right. All right. So then what are you going to do? Run as a Republican? That would be kind of.
Oh, that would be fun though. It
They
would be
would
so
lose. Would you
much
just
fun.
please do it just for
It
just
would
to
be
drive him?
See, like, how does that make you any different than a politician? Like, he's getting close to a point, right? He's almost making a point, which is that people are so disillusioned with the political ecosystem that they are so checked out because they don't trust the people in power to have their best interests at heart. And this billionaire is like, oh, it would be so fun if I ran as a Republican, right? It would really mess up the people in power, right? They would hate that. Like, it's a game to you. You don't care about this the same way that they don't care about this. So why should I trust you the same way that why should I trust them? Right? This is the argument against Trump as well, by the way. Right? This is what you say to Trump, because this is the same thing Trump was saying. Right? Less like, wouldn't it be fun? And more like, drain the swamp was basically this argument. He was just there to shake things up. He wasn't there to make your life better. He was there to make chaos. That's all he was there for. Right? And that chaos led to your life being materially worse. Right? You came out of the end of Trump 1 being materially worse. You know what I mean? Just the other, I was watching yesterday, actually see what y'all have been saying on the blind spots and probably non-POC leftists, especially nuances in messaging. Because evidently, many house chatters indeed take the woke one term ambiguity and interpret it as identity politics had to be abandoned. Thank you. Thank you. To be fair, I was watching during one point, and a chatter had a really good point, which is why we're gonna watch Hassan's coverage of this. And I will say, I will credit, I think Hassan covered this video pretty well for the most part. But I think chatter had a really good point against Hassan. During one of these, I'm stealing it. Right? I'm stealing it. I'll spoil it. The point that the chatter made was basically Hassan consistently always says, never take the right's framing, right? Never take the right wing's framing, right? And this is all like we've been saying about the woke one conversation, right? Never take the right wing's framing. The right wing is framing woke one in this way. Don't take their framing. Don't give in to their framing. I mean, he's saying it with the DSA stuff, right? But then he says it is his framing, and we'll get to that when we get to that, right? And I think the biggest conversation is just about like. And then I saw Adrian on Twitter doing like woke one discourse. I'm just like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And again, I think it's mostly about personal catharsis.
I was about to go get the Henny.
Sorry, 1 second.
Iggy's Dust gifted a tier 1 sub to
I don't know if
Shadow
catharsis
1115.
is a
This
the
is
best
their
term
first
to
gift
use,
sub in the channel.
but more maybe like personal grievances, right? Like because my question is like, why even call it woke one? Like why? Right? Because we all know it's not an accurate description of what the term woke is supposed to be about, right? Which is what my tweet is saying is like, it's just liberalism, right? None of us like liberalism. We all hate liberalism, right? There's no reason to concede on calling it woke one or framing it as woke one. And it's not previously defined woke one as the annoying parts of woke, which itself is indeed right-wing framing. Furthermore, just like more persuasive words without abandoning the policy materially and rhetorically, the whole term woke one is super vague. An actual descriptor is liberalism. Exactly. For the Twitch version. I do prefer the Twitch version, just because I don't know, I have a preference for the Twitch version. I can see the chatter with my own eyes. Let's finish this Mark Cuban clip.
Fun.
JD Vance's head would blow off.
Yeah, and the competitive side of me likes that part, but doesn't like the governing part at all.
We'll get to this flock thing, and then we'll get to the Angie Nixon thing with Keith Edwards, and then we'll get to the woke one discourse. Woke one discourse conversation. What's your favorite color? So that's the type of question that's asked on the third stream. Third streamers know that answer.
Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. We. Okay, who's we? The people. Okay, Constitution. All of us just don't like being watched 24/7. I don't think you understand. Flock has 80,000 cameras all over the United States in order to keep you safe. Safe from what? We track your license plates, make sure we know what you're up to at all times. You look frustrated. People are getting arrested for things they didn't do. The data is hackable. So you want better mass surveillance. We don't want any of it. We don't want to be watched. Okay, the phone in your wallet, your smart TV, it basically tracks all you do anyways. At least I can turn off my phone. Actually, we're working on a feature to make sure you can't do that anymore. Enough. Remember in Batman when Morgan Freeman builds a mass surveillance system in order to get Joker? I'm like Morgan Freeman. The point is that was wrong and he destroys it right after. Do you have any media literacy? I literally only watch you sleep at night, so no. Also, sleep apnea. Look into that. Okay. Genuinely, I just want to know, why do people hate having cameras watch them 24/7? Have you read Philip K. Dick? Yes, his works of utopian idealism are inspiring. We live in a world without privacy. And piracy, you're welcome. Nobody wants this. Okay, I'm still not getting... Explain it to me like I'm 4. Camera watch bad, no good. Like I'm 3. No, bad camera, bad. Like I'm 1. Hey, hello, hello, smile. Like I'm 99. The cops aren't your friends, Grandpa. Like I'm Ebenezer Scrooge. Tiny Tim is gonna die if you don't change your ways. I think I understand. Good. Okay. No more surveillance. Are you gonna stop? Maybe try explaining it to me like I give a shit.
Which they don't. They're counter-mentioning against years of right-wing propaganda saying woke is bad. If some low-information voter was duped into believing woke is bad, the quickest way to low info take them out of the loop. You need quick, easy messaging to rehabilitate the term woke. I believe woke 1.0 versus 2.0 is a good attempt at that. Who are you describing when you say low information voters? Like, who are you describing when you say that? Because I can tell you that like black voters of all information levels, when you utilize the term woke with right-wing framing, think fuck you. So if you ever care to convert them, if you use it framed in that way, they do not like it. It is an automatic signal to them that you don't care about them. Right? And if we're centering the entire political landscape around white people, then like, sure, let's be honest about what we're doing there. Right? But that's not an effective like politic it's not effective politicking in general, right? But also like, since when does the left give up on things because they're hard or difficult? Since when does like sitting down and like explaining policy to people mean like, oh, we just don't do it? Right? Again, I brought up this yesterday. Like, do we concede on From the River to the Sea because people think it's anti-Semitic? Right? If you sit down with a I don't know, with a group of people and they're like, I don't know, my Jewish cousin was like, From the River to the Sea is anti-Semitic, where you're like, well, yeah, it is. It's really anti-Semitic. It's, we should have used a better phrase. We really need to pick something different. Or do you explain to them why that's not the case? You know what I mean? Do you stand your ground and explain to them how like they've been duped by Zionist framing of the issue, right? To try to distract them on the actual topics that they actually do care about. You know what I mean? That's the point. The point is you don't give up ground there, because once you give up that ground, it's impossible to take it back. This goes further than just rhetoric. We're taking back woke by reforming the term into woke 2.0. But who is we though? Like this, you're not taking back the term. You're abandoning the original meaning of the term by saying, oh, that woke stuff was silly back in the day. Right? You're conceding that, again, think about the context of this, the context that this is in is AOC conceding that defund the police is a stupid, silly term. That's what the context of this conversation is about. It's saying, hey, that woke one stuff, which was defund the police, is stupid. That's how we got here in the first place. That's the counterculture you're talking about. And when you abandon, right, that stuff in the original meaning of defund the police, right, you don't stand for anything, right? Your woke 2.0 is meaningless. It is genuinely meaningless. We're in this whole woke 1.0 thing, then the next woke 2.0 thing is going to be overboard with pro-Palestine and online privacy, free speech, or whatever is getting way too easy to get paid for election. I mean, that's already happening for the most part. Not for the most part, but like there are instances of that happening as well, right? I mean, you have people like you may not be on TikTok, but you have people like on TikTok who are like, yeah, maybe we went too far with yelling at people about freaking Coca-Cola and Starbucks and stuff. But it is already still happening. But on TikTok, well, it is a thing that is currently ramping up. Right? It is extraordinarily silly to focus on like annoying aspects of online culture as if it is actually a meaningful like contingent of like politics. It's not. These are like meaningless people online that were like, you know, ostensibly like a few dozen people yelling about, I don't know, like land acknowledgements. Like, who cares? Right? Why would you concede to that framing that it was crazy? Who cares? Right? When you call it woke one, right, you are conceding to the framing that the right wing has set. So there shouldn't be this instinct to hold on to the phrase defund the police, keep the intention, lose the phrase. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Defund the police is a very descriptive phrase. It's inherently descriptive. It is inherently descriptive. People said that about abolish ICE until abolish ICE became more popular. Because it is an inherently descriptive policy position. All these things are unpopular until we make them popular. It is our job to message these things to people so that they become popular. It is literally our job to do that. If leftists just were like, oh, this is unpopular, so we can't have to give up on this, we would not do anything. We literally would not do objectively anything. Pick literally any leftist policy, and I can find you a period of time in American society where it was unpopular. And so it would not have been done. Right? Miscegenation, integration, desegregation. Like, what are you talking about? Right? And doing keep the idea, lose the phrase is giving into the framing that it's bad. You are literally giving into the framing that it's a bad thing. If you don't want to use the phrase, then don't use the fucking phrase. If you think it's more advantageous to not use the phrase defund the police, I don't give a fuck what you do. But shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, shut the fuck up. If you're fucking AOC, shut the fuck up. Go do some fucking politics. Go do your fucking job. Shut the fuck up and do your work. Stop crying about the fucking phrases. Because all you're doing is giving ammunition to the right. All you're doing is giving them ammunition. That's why you have the media asking, Zohran Mamdani, how do you feel about woke one was crazy? Wes Moore, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, how do you feel about woke one was crazy? Hassan Piker, how do you feel about woke one was crazy? Angie Dix, how do you feel about woke one was crazy? That's what you get. The entire media cycle right now is because AOC could not shut her mouth. She could not just do the politics. She had to be too online and comment on the phrase. She didn't have to use defund the police. She didn't have to talk about defund the police. And you don't have to talk about defund the police. Well, when was it just defund the police? That's what she was being asked about, chatter. She was being asked about defund the police, and she brought up woke one. That's how we got here. She was being asked about defund the police, and she brought up woke one. She brought it up. She made the connection. She did it, not us. That's why they're connected. And that's the issue. That's the problem, right? The issue, connected back to this, is doing stuff like this, that Keith Edwards is doing. Keith Edwards talked about Angie Nixon and DSA. She's giving me a lot of hope because she's a member of DSA, but she's not letting the insanity of the national DSA platform weigh her down. Calling the national DSA platform insane. This is the problem, right? Liberals like Keith Edwards, who for some reason get positioned as leftists, get to run around here acting like they are a voice of the left, positioning things like prison abolition and defunding the police as being insane and untenable. That's the problem.
Is giving me a lot of hope because she is a member of the DSA, but she's not letting the insanity of the national DSA platform weigh her down. All these reporters are trying to trip her up. This woman is on beast mode. Beast mode. Watch Angie Nixon. Show them how it's done. I'm so into this candidate. I don't listen. I don't want to stand politicians, but I really like Angie Nixon. Here's why.
Why join the DSA if you disagree?
Great. So we watched this already, but like, that's the issue, right? Currently, right now, leftists are trying to separate themselves out from policies they stood by in 2018, 2019, and 2020. AOC is on camera calling for abolition in 2018, and now she's calling for defund the police and abolition, right? And positioning that as crazy policies. As crazy woke one policies. That is exactly what the right wing was saying about her when she was saying it. Do you not see the analog there? When AOC in 2018 was saying that abolition was necessary, Ben Shapiro was playing that clip being like, look at all these woke politicians saying that she wanted to abolish all prisons. And now, 8 years later, AOC is calling it the exact same thing that Ben Shapiro was calling it. Woke. Do you understand how they're just using right-wing framing? Right? This conversation is not about like identity politics. Like not even. This conversation is not about like rainbow capitalism. This conversation is about like honestly the stuff that's on the national DSA platform. It's about prison abolition. It's about defund the police. It's about abolish the police. And about how people are running from it. That's what it's about.
With various parts of their platform, does it not just become a distraction from your own campaign and your own agenda?
You all are the
like
only
we all like understood how like Will Lawrence running away from the DSA to try to win his election, or after he won his election, was insane. But we don't understand how like AOC vying for the presidency, distancing herself from the national DSA platform is not the same thing. How is Will Lawrence any different than AOC, except for the fact that you just like AOC? They're doing the same thing by principle, right? They're distancing themselves, right, from the ideological leanings of being a democratic socialist. The things that the Democratic Socialists of America stand for. They're like, that stuff is crazy. I don't stand by that stuff. I don't stand for that stuff. That's too far. And that's bad. That's it. That is a bad thing.
ones that are distracted. I'm actually going out
talking about this in yesterday, and chat was going nuts. No, we're gonna watch it because we're looking at chat's reaction, right? Because we're gonna look at chat's reaction. Because far too often do people act like I'm crazy. Far too often do people act like I'm crazy for trying to call that out. Right? Because like, there's a moment. There's a moment in this video. I do another slight spoiler, right? There's a moment when watching this video, where Demi talks about David Crowley talking about like establishment as a slur, right? And it got me thinking. Because like she said that like David Crowley is not entirely wrong about how people use establishment as a slur. Right? And I've talked about it a little bit before. Right? And like, leftists use liberal as a pejorative, right? Leftists use liberal as a pejorative. And I know because they use it against me. Right? I talked about it yesterday as well. I didn't connect those two ideas, right? Until I saw that part, right? Leftists use liberal as a pejorative against me. Like people like in Hassan's chat, right? People in Mike's chat use liberal as a pejorative against me. I showed you a lot of it yesterday. Which is insanity, because as I've stated before, you know what? I won't even get into it. Right? But it does exist. Right? Did it for FD signifier as well. These liberals specifically towards black leftists. And then I thought about it, right? And then I thought about this one specific video that I made. Got a lot of the Hassan chat very pissed off. That kind of was the start of my descent into madness. And it was this video. Titled, Hassan should not platform Dean Withers. Do you remember this video? Also, Loyal Pawn, thank you for the raid. Much appreciated. In this video, I talked about the way, right, that people treat white liberals and give them a pass that they don't afford. So even black liberals, right? And how they treat white liberals who have a racist past with a level of charity that they do not afford to other people. People yelled at me. We can probably find the Reddit posts on r/Hassan Piker of people saying that I was being uncharitable, that I was being a wrecker, that I was probably being like woke of the day, that I was being like unpalatable or whatever, that I was pushing people away for saying this, and I was being gatekeepy for saying this. You know what I mean? Then over the past year, I've seen the way, right? I talked about it before. I've seen the way that like people have spoken about me, like in other spaces, right? And again, I don't get upset. I don't get mad. The only thing that really takes me off, I said this before, is being called a liberal, right? Because it's done specifically either to piss me off because they know it makes me mad, or it's done by people who genuinely have not and do not watch my content, right? It is it is a telltale sign, right? Telltale sign of somebody literally not watching my content. You feel me? And so it was so insanely frustrating. So insanely frustrating, right? To see like people yell at me for critiquing this concept of like, I think it's strange the way that formerly racist white kids get so much charitability, but act like, black leftists get such ire. And I saw it with Demi as well for this video, right? I saw a comment saying, listen, I just got here, but I really don't even like this lady on the screen right now. Ray one, somebody's like, I just showed up, I already don't like this person. You know what I mean? It's craziness. It's craziness. It's absolute insanity. And I say, but I can't see a fast and efficient way to bring more voters in to win the House and the Senate before fascism takes over completely. Have you seen the turnout from the reactionary Dems and Republicans? It's insane. Almost proportional to the DSA support turnout increase. Look at Wisconsin, voter turnout the primaries. You can't ignore the insane amount of reactionary shit that this type of frame needs to be mobilized and counter messaging. We don't have time to play. If you think that woke one will do that, I'm sorry, you were a fucking buffoon. Genuinely. If you think utilizing woke one versus woke two messaging is going to mobilize and turn people out, you are stupid. And honestly, you deserve to lose. You do. You do. You deserve to lose. You fully deserve to lose. But messaging is important. Chatter, I'm sorry. I still stand by it. You're stupid. What will do that is talking to people and addressing their fucking material conditions. You're doing culture war shit. You're doing the exact same culture war shit that the right is doing. You are literally engaging with the culture war. You are like objectively engaging with the culture war. You're coming to me and be like, no, I promise. I promise if we just engage with the culture war a little bit more, we can do this. Like, no, you have to engage with materialism. Address their material conditions. Address their material needs. Why are you a leftist? Genuinely. Why are you a leftist? Talk to people about their rent. Talk to them about how they can't afford to pay their bills. Exactly, put the policies in the bag. And which is crazy is that leftists understand this anytime you talk about black issues, bro. You try to talk about a black issue one time, they will shove class down your throat, bro. You're like, hey, maybe we should address racism, and they will shove class down your throat. They will not shut the fuck up about Medicare for all. The moment you try to talk about race issues, right? But the second you're like, hey, maybe like don't engage with the culture war for a second, then they're like, no, we actually kind of need to do this exactly. No, we actually have to engage with woke one versus woke two. We actually have to do that. It's an imperative. We must actually, please. Please, I promise this will definitely work. The average voter definitely cares about woke one versus woke two. Please. You need to do 90% policy, 10% messaging. You're talking about U.S. citizens, people who vote for billionaires, 30% are morons. You not understand that materialism is important. I have a lot of idiots. Yes, and the idiots will vote on materialism. You need to do 100% policy, Chad. It's the policies and how you message those policies. Woke one is not messaging the policies. Woke one is not messaging the policies. Explain to me how woke one messaging is messaging policies to people. It's not. Exactly. Talking about woke one is not doing that. So don't do that. Stop talking about it. So AOC should not have brought it up. She started this discussion. She brought it up. We didn't bring it up. She brought it up. She should not have done that. She should not have done. She shouldn't have done it. But actually, he has a straight here as well. True, yes, he also should not have done it. He wanted to be snippy online. He wanted to clap back online, and he sparked discourse. He also should not have done that. Right? But I have more beef with AOC because I think she should know better. She did it on camera. On camera in an interview. That is entirely her fault. She should have kept it pushing. When asked about Francesca Hong's past comments, she should have been like, listen, voters don't care about this stuff. They care about paying their bills. They care about their rent. They care about being able to put food on their table. They care about being able to afford their groceries. That's all she should have said. Instead, she was like, you know, woke one was crazy. You know, I think everybody should be allowed to answer for their past behavior and walk that back if they need to. Focusing on how what it was not crazy, still engaging in culture war. No, it's a long term. No one is running on that. No, because I'm trying to get you fuckers to realize you're doing culture war shit. Me telling you to stop doing culture war shit is not doing culture war shit. It's getting you to refocus on the actual important stuff. I'm trying to say, stop doing culture war shit. That's not the culture war. You keep getting back into the culture war. You're like, I need to get back into the culture war. Me trying to pull you out the mud is not getting into the mud. I'm trying to get you to stop being in the mud. We're trying to clear your eyes that are hazed over. All you're doing is you're seeing red. And we're trying to get you to stop doing that. How's the culture war draft? Woke one discourse is indistinguishable from the liberals capitulating to trans women in sports. It's the same conversation, which is don't concede to right-wing framing. And let's continue with freaking Keith Edwards. This guy also sucks, by the way. Keith Edwards was crying about like not being hired because he was a white man. So
Talking to voters about the things that matter to them.
I love this. I love it. Now, listen, I'm a member of the DSA and I disagree with many parts of the platform. And there's such a big difference between what happens in local chapters and what the national organization has decided is the things that they're working towards. But really, the local chapters are about getting people into office who are pro-worker, pro-union, who are anti-corporation, who want to get money out of politics, who want to make healthcare accessible to everyone.
Can I just say, that's kind of fucking loser shit. No beef to like local DSA, but like the reason why there is a national chapter in the first place is because they have a long-term vision. You know what I mean? Like, that's good. Like, you as a local chapter, you get people elected in your local area. Awesome. But like, to what end? You have to have a reason for doing this stuff. You know, you get people elected to do stuff in the future. Like, what's the point of having all of these people in local office get elected if not to push for, like, towards defunding the police? Why are you a part of the DSA? Like, what do you, pro-worker for what end? Like, to what end? Like, I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand the whole, and it's why I lay the blame at the feet of AOC, the whole, like, yeah, I'm a part of the local chapter, not the national chapter. No, you're a part of both. You signed up for the mission, buddy. If you're not signed up for the mission, then I don't know, go join a union then. If you're not for the overarching mission of the DSA, go join a union. Go join a local like healthcare initiative. Why are you joining the Democratic Socialists of America if you're not for democratic socialism? It doesn't make sense. It genuinely doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to me. Also, if you say this, you need to articulate, one, exactly where you disagree with the national platform, or two, shut the fuck up. Whatever happened to like solidarity? I think that also applies to influencers as well. Whatever happened to keeping your mouth fucking shut when you don't agree? You are a part of an organization. Shut the fuck up. All you're doing is giving ammunition to the people outside of the organization. If you don't agree with certain instances of the platform, that's cool. You keep it pushing because you know you're in an organization of like-minded people pushing towards a certain end. I don't think anybody in DSA should ever join on the national platform because it causes more division and fighting. Exactly. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Right? I mean, I agree with you even to the extent of like the DSA not going far enough. Right? Like this is a function of being a part of an organization. If you are a part of an organization and you're pushing for a overarching mission, this is record behavior. This is like objectively record behavior. But if you're an organization, how do you work to shift in a way that you think it's better? You go to the convention. The DSA has conventions. And you push things forward internally within the organization, right? You exercise the chapter control that you have in your chapter over, like, what your voting power you have as your chapter over the national like platform, right? You go to the convention, you engage with the national platform, and you talk about it internally, right? Airing out your beef about how bad the DSA national platform is. All you're doing is you're giving ammunition to the liberal media and the right about how bad it is. What if you're ignored internally? Then you leave. But we don't even know if that's happening. If you're ignored internally, it's not an organization for you then, right? But this is objectively record behavior, right? This is like actually giving ammunition to liberal media to be like, Angie, a lot of people are hating the national platform of the DSA. How do you feel about it? It literally causes division. As an organization, you should have some level of solidarity to be like, as an individual, I can have my own beliefs, but as an organization, this is what the organization believes, right? And if you want if you want the organization's official position on it, it's this and that. And if you don't want to be associated with that, don't join the fucking organization. Or start your own organization. Like, what you don't do is you don't position the national policy as being like crazy stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I need him to describe what his issues with the national platform are.
There's such a big difference between what happens in local chapters and what the national organization has decided
there is something
is
missing. What's missing? Like, bro, my Roku just sometimes just starts playing on its own. And it's scary as I don't know. It'll just be off and it'll be like, okay, time to turn itself on.
the things that they're working towards. But really, the local chapters are about getting people into office who are pro-worker, pro.
I'll split her off into our orgs of 2 or 3 people. I mean, like, obviously, but like, you're not going to agree with everything an organization does. But you should also not split off of an organization because you have a few minor disagreements. That's also not what solidarity is. If you're like, I don't know, I think that we should abolish the police instead of defund the police specifically, but the national platform says defund the police. If that causes you to split off the organization, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. But if you're like, yeah, the national platform wants to abolish the police and abolish private prisons and wants to cut all military aid to Israel and wants a one-state solution and wants to abolish ICE, you know what I mean? And I don't want any of that. They're like, yeah, you should leave the organization. You're not right for that organization. Am I wrong on this? If you don't align with the tenets that the organization stands for, why are you in there? I think it's a valid public critique of the national DSA is the fact that they aren't going to endorse for the presidency until way too late in the cycle, and they aren't going to have conversations to even decide the endorsements until 2027. If there's no convention to force the issue sooner, then you're going to have to take your grievances elsewhere. I mean, my take is that, like, listen, I think people have rose-tinted glasses about the chances of AOC during the presidency. That's my perspective.
Union, who are anti-corporation, who want to get money out of
I don't think
politics.
it's necessarily that big of an issue.
Want to make healthcare accessible to everyone. I don't understand why they don't understand that just because you're a member of an organization doesn't mean you agree with everything. I've been a member of the DSA. I've been a member of Democratic clubs, and I didn't agree with everything happening in the Democratic clubs either. Do you think I agree with every person that Democratic club I was a member of endorsed? Of course not. But, you know, you're a member because you're trying to work towards something together with people who are like-minded. And I personally find the DSA is aligned with more things that I'm aligned with than a local Democratic club that I used to be a member of. And they actually do real activism and real community work that I think is important. So I just don't understand why reporters can't understand that. Like, you can do both.
But reporters do understand that. They ask these questions so that you make a video like this, right? And so Breandre Gray is completely right? What does it mean for the DSA when complimentary statements about Nixon comes at the expense of the organization? Right? Like, that's what they do it. It's done specifically to drive a wedge between the candidates and the organization. Right? The idea is to make the organization feel icky and gross to touch. Right? Kind of like Hamas. Chat. Like, think about end of 2023, early 2024, about the way that the media was talking about and discussing Hamas. Right? The way that was happening was to position Hamas as closely aligned with pro-Palestinian liberation as possible. So if you even said Palestine, you were just a part of Hamas. Okay, so yes, but that's the idea, right? That's the idea. They're doing that with the DSA. They're saying these policies are radical and communist, and they're saying the DSA has these policies that are communist. Now you must choose. Either you are a part of this communist organization or you're not. And right now we're seeing people fall hook, line, and sinker for that dichotomy. They're like, well, I'm not a communist. You know, and the AOC literally did it. AOC also did this in her interview where she was like, well, I think the difference between communism and socialism is democracy. Communism bad, socialism good. That's what they are doing with this. And I don't understand how people don't see this. Stop. You're literally falling into this. Is literally culture war stuff. This is objectively culture war behavior. They're trying to get you to fight against solidarity. And people don't understand it. They don't get it. Right? This is breaking solidarity. Right? Classifying the national DSA platform as being too radical is breaking solidarity. It is. It is a break in solidarity.
They are now tying that to today. They are now tying that to today and separating themselves from what their positions were 6 years ago to where they are now, because also of the rise in socialist power and DSA elected candidates. And there seems to be this fear that if we return at all to 2020, that we're going to be conceding power to the liberal establishment. that DSA backed candidates or socialist candidates are going to lose elections if they don't separate themselves from what was happening, what was being fought for 6 years ago.
Yeah, and people, I don't know, people are trying to pretend like this is not a separation from like defund the police. They're literally doing it now. They are literally doing it right now. We are literally watching people separate themselves out from the national DSA platform, which just includes defund the police, right? And prison abolition. So am I to believe that like AOC was not separating herself out from defund the police and abolition then when like people are doing it literally right now? AOC also in that same interview separated herself from the national DSA platform, and that platform has the same stuff in it. It's like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I'm being gaslit. Gaslighting is happening. Gaslighting is happening, and it's occurring. Okay, you know what? I'll watch this clip as well. Then we'll get to the song watching the video.
To describe it as woke one is to concede the terrain. That's the first thing.
I'm the person that's been running race cover for the left all of these years.
I know.
But I thought it was very heroic of you to bring it up on mainstream TV like that.
We should. The person, you see the person talk about the border photo that AOC did like 2017? No, I did not. People think that defund and police is the same thing as police abolition. It's in the same group of conversations.
Just leave the ballot blank. I still get in trouble for that, by the way.
I know you probably don't like it when I bring it up. Are Democrats not the fascists also?
Some of them. Not all of them. We just can't assume by virtue of the fact that we self-describe that we hold the same views, the same positions, right?
Well, that's certainly true.
DSA is not making any, at least from my kind of quick glance, they're not making any overtures to black voters in particular, specifically.
No. I didn't quit the law firm and take a pay cut because I wanted to go back to the Clinton years. I saw someone on the internet say this, that defund is the sister soldier for the left.
Let's get into the coverage of the video. Here the takes from this words. Now I see that the problem isn't using more persuasive words for a broader audience. The problem is the explicit separation. It is a slight it's a slightly separate conversation. I think both conversations are they're like tangentially related, so they're slightly tied together but slightly separate, which is that like people are separating themselves from defund and other like 2018 2020 era rhetoric, and they're falling for right-wing framing of what that period of time was, you know, because I still have not heard a convincing answer for why people are describing identity politics as wokeism. Maybe watching this I will get a good answer, but I've still not gotten a convincing answer for why identity politics and liberalism should, from the left, be described as wokeism and what value that serves.
I'm saying the question here is, come November, will those Haley Stevens voters really vote for the guy who's the socialist dreamboat of diversity? Silly gym rat flex and his tight-fitting black tee.
These races ultimately are local.
Also, I do love that, like, this video is interesting because it is exactly what I've been saying. Because I don't know if Demi watches me, or if like all black leftists just have like a connection, like a hive mind connection where we just come to the same takes completely separate from each other. But it is like verbatim exactly what I've been describing describing here. From what Hassan was gonna say. Oh no. From what Demi says here. I think it's a hive mind to be watching. I think I was gonna DM her, but I don't think she has a Twitter. I looked. I was like, I'm gonna invite her on the stream. No, it's not. It's not Demi Char. It's a different Demi. Referring to AOC's border photo. Oh, I do know. I do know this. I did see this. Yeah. I remember. I remember looking at this. He has a TikTok. Ugh, I don't have a TikTok because TikTok is gross. Email her. I didn't see her email. Insta her. I don't know what her answer is. I was gonna leave a comment, but I was like, it's whatever. It was fun watching Hassan's chat violently ping pong between writing her off as a record and completely agreeing because Hassan didn't scoff at her statements, while the mods tried to wrangle the most reactionary ones. This isn't politics, it's vibe checks through a lens of parasocialism. I tried to tell you. I told you, the chat. I told you. I told you this is what the chat does. This is what the chat does. The chat acts in the way that they think Hassan wants them to act, which is like to just defend him. Right? And so anything that they perceive as a potential slight against him is taken with the utmost gathering of arms. You know what I mean? They are kind of rabid. I wouldn't describe it as kinda. I talked about it yesterday. It's not kinda. Right? It's also funny, and it's what also pisses me off, is that chatters will also make ascriptions about like what my issues with Hassan are for some reason. And I know that because I have it saved in my mentions here. I will show it to you. Where's it at? Nope. No. What's today? Sunday? No, today's Monday. Did I stream yesterday? I did stream yesterday. Oh, here. Hold on. I'll be fair. I'll remove some names. This is the comment though. Usually more in school than not. That won't last. Also, I have class today. What time is my class today? Hold on. Jeez, freaking ways. Hold on. It's at 5, right? I have to leave at like a 2. Syllabus. That's not the right syllabus. Modules. Syllabus. Yeah. But I'll leave here at 2. Which means I have to read reading for today. All right. I saw I got added here. I have my mentions on just so whenever people mention me. I don't even know what the context of this is. You haven't done the readings yet? Listen. It's actually not readings. Actually, I read over the PowerPoints, to be fair. There was like 100 slides. Don't worry about it. Because it's pretty clear to me that the hard B moment was you saying black in air quotes, except you didn't use the gesture, i.e. you thought that the guy might be pretending to be black. And this person said, exactly, it seems clear to me, but people like Shauna Black were still angry at how he said it, right? This is just not true, right? I've never like took issue with like the hard B moment. That is not even like at like near the top of my concerns with Hassan. Right? I was telling you about this earlier. Was it the black folks thing? Yes. And it's what pisses me off. is what pisses me off. Is that people come to conclusions about my positions. Can we clear this up? I'm the one that made this a thing. I called out how he said black. It was a joke. I never took issue with like the hard B thing. And it's like and it's so frustrating, right? It's so frustrating because like this is like, I want to say like the perception, but this is like how people like view my positions, and they don't even watch to like come to like their own conclusions about what my actual positions are, right? And so that's a little bit frustrating. Because on said black was inexcusable. I genuinely do not care. Like that's again. I think Hassan has other missteps that I think are more substantive, right? But I don't know where like this person gets the confidence to be like, yeah, actually, Sean is still angry about how he said it. You know what I mean? Like how can you speak so confidently about what I'm upset about? You two are different. You care more about discipline within messaging and not censoring whiteness. He's trying to either educate Boyd, like on the good side. That's how I've seen you two. Like me and Hassan. I think if one is black and watches Hassan regularly, one at most raises an eyebrow, but not really take Hassan on bad faith. They've been in here. They were in here a little bit, right? But not like largely consistently. If I knew my own jokes would be used to attack black chatters, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. Yeah, it's just like, and also it's strange that like, I don't know, it's strange that non-black chatters will like argue in like defense of Hassan that like black people will have issues with. It's weird. It's a weird thing that people were doing. But like stuff like this happens like pretty consistently, which is like people just like kind of misrepresent what my positions are, which is also partially like why I just don't chat. Is because people will just like speak like about like what my positions are and like you know, there's no other way to describe it. It's weird. It's weird. Anyone who's black has an issue with Hassan, these people think it comes from John every time. These us as talking points or quotes. And it's just like it's frustrating. I had a Dave Chappelle moment earlier this year. I was going to check the Mecca.
And all politics are local. My understanding is that
We're going to start the whole reaction to Demi's video. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Is that Francesca Hong has made clear.
When you tried to critique my take, as you've been listening to Sean say this, I don't have agency myself. It's that energy. That's craziness. It's also crazy because, like, you know, you've been having these critiques like yourself, like at least before, like you've been like in here having the critiques as well. Like it's wild.
Present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
right,
of that.
She's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy.
Today, we're going to be having a conversation. I want to go ahead and examine this weird paradox that Black voters find themselves in. On one hand, they are the most supportive of DSA policies, but on the other hand, it seems as though that Black voters are the least supportive of DSA candidates. One of the main reasons why this contradiction stood out to me is because within America, most of our well-known socialists are Black. But it seems as though that the DSA, an organization that is advocating for democratic socialism, seems to be disconnecting with the group of people that have already been historically predisposed to socialism. So in this video, I want to go ahead and examine why exactly there seems to be a drift between the Black voter base. A group of individuals.
What are they question marking? I don't understand what the question marks are. Because you said most of the well-known socialists are Black. I mean, it's true, right? The Black Panthers, like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, like that's true. Most of the like well-known socialist leaders in America have been Black. Like that's just the case. That doesn't mean like the only Black people have been socialist. Like Bernie invented socialism. They don't understand either. They feel like they've been slighted because they don't actually know. These are the same people who glaze the Panthers all day and say we need to be like them, by the way.
Individuals who have already been predisposed to the Rainbow Coalition, to Fred Hampton, Angela Davis, the Black Panther Party, in hopes of better understanding the gap between the insurgent left and the base of the Democratic Party. In this video, we'll go ahead and examine the after effects of El Sayed winning his race against Stevens. We'll also go ahead and discuss the whole Hassan Piker discourse industrial complex and why Joe Scarborough has no freaking...
Seems to start off with a false notion, but I'll hear her out. What are we talking about? It's been 15 seconds, and all she said is that some of the most well-known socialists in this country have been Black.
Reason yelling that loud in the morning. After that, we'll also go ahead and have a conversation
I think
about...
this is a perfect example, right? This is the perfect example of Chad is so ready, like so ready to hate, right? Hassan didn't even say anything about the video, right? He didn't say anything about the video. He has not given any commentary yet, but they are so primed to pop off, right? Partially because it's a video about Hassan and they're ready for it to be bad. Partially because it's a, the Black woman talking about politics and, you know how Chad gets, right? And it's just not charitability that they will extend to, and just compare the way that they talk about this video and Demi here versus like how they talked about, I don't know, name somebody. Dean Withers. Kyle Kulinski. Oh, that is a great example. Jesus. Kyle Kulinski. Right? Just, and I guess you can say that like, because Kyle's been on stream multiple times, like he's like friends with Hassan, that, maybe they're already primed to like him. But again, Kyle has objectively had worse takes than anything they've seen from Demi so far. But they're already primed to dislike her. Right? Kyle has told people to join ICE. Kyle has flagrantly used slurs. Right? Kyle has a rape apologist last month. Indeed. But like they can't even extend this person 10 seconds into the video, any amount of any amount of grace. And this is what I was saying, which is that Black leftists just receive less grace than white leftists just do. Right? She is correct, but even if she wasn't, right? The fact that they're so ready to pop off on like, hey, we know, wrong, incorrect, not true, just kind of shows. It kind of shows that. Miss Brace, thank you for the tier 1 and for the 6 gifted subs. Much appreciated. Kyle was a slot to the left because he's still a liberal. True. And again, I still think that's fine. Right? I still stand on like liberals can be temporary allies, right? As we push towards a better future, right? So long as we acknowledge that they're liberals and it's temporary. My issue with Kyle is that nobody acknowledges that he's a liberal and that it's temporary. You know, people just kind of let him get away with it. That's fine. It's not about Koklitsky. I don't want to relitigate that. I don't want to relitigate that. Let's just continue.
Miss AOC, and why the language of Woke 1.0 not only undermines the hard work of BLM activists, but weirdly enough, may also undermine some of the movements that we're currently seeing in 2026.
This is about the Democrats once again fumbling the football on the 2-yard line.
And like, the shadows are like Hassan derangement syndrome. Like, this video just started.
When they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious.
And because this is a little director's cut, similar to my Lotto video, I will definitely try to bring up comments from the previous video as a way to provide some of my insight into what y'all left. Hello and welcome to Demi Show. Today we're going to be having a conversation. This is going to be a part 2, a director's cut of some sort in regards to our initial conversation that we had about Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, as well as the Michigan Senate race and this unfortunate idea that Black voters are monolithic. That video received upwards of almost 1,000 comments. So I wanted to go ahead and do a part 2 to further examine some of the things that were discussed in the first video, and to also add to some of my commentary that I wasn't initially able to put in the first video. Before we officially start everything, I want to go ahead and touch on, as a lot of people have mentioned, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is not DSA. According to Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, he is a scientist and a...
I think we're jumping the gun a bit. Let's see the pushback, the community being clear, short, and impatient with Black voices. That's what matters, in my opinion. There's some pushback. There's some pushback. To be fair, I think that there's a lot of preemptive pushback, which is like, white shadows are gonna show their ass, right? Like, white shadows not gonna like this. White shadows like a lot of preemptive pushback. Also, like, shadows were, you know, being weird about like Demi's outfit. You know, that's just Twitch chat.
Capitalist that understands the pitfalls of capitalism. I say that to say that I'm very much aware of the fact that Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is not a DSA candidate, but the DSA is not exempt from the critiques that I had in that video. Like, even though I am supportive of the insurgent left, the DSA has gotten multiple critiques of being a very white organization and having issues when it comes to Black voters. So yes, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed may not be DSA, but my critiques in the video definitely apply to the DSA. A lot of my analysis in that video was created prior to Dr. Abdul El-Sayed eking out a win against Miss Haley Stevens. One of the things that I mentioned in the previous video is that I thought the race was going to be extremely close. And the main...
I mean, it immediately the turn is like, eye roll, oh, never mind. Especially in my opinion. That's a dumb critique. What was the critique? Hold on. I want to get the critique actually correct.
Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is not a DSA candidate, but the DSA is not exempt from the critiques that I had in that video. Like, even though I am supportive of the insurgent left, the DSA has gotten multiple critiques of being a very white organization and having issues when it comes to Black voters. So
that's just true, though. That's just correct. Maybe for Demi is that she clearly demonstrated that she clearly has strength. She can demonstrate volume. I love my finest hair. If I tried doing that hairstyle, it would be boneless. I was like, Patty, Demi versus Demi violence.
Yes, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed may not be DSA, but my critiques in the video definitely apply to the DSA. A lot of my analysis in that video was created prior to Dr. Abdul El-Sayed eking out a win against Miss Haley Stevens. One of the things...
If he says, gonna go ahead and one more time, I'm gonna have to click off, and people are just like mean.
Things that I mentioned in the previous video is that I thought the race was going to be extremely close. And the main reason why I believe that the race was going to be close was because of what we were discussing in the original video. Even though Dr. Abdul El-Sayed was able to win his primary against Haley Stevens, according to reports and according to some of the data that we've seen sprinkling out of the Michigan Senate primary race, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed lost the Black vote to Haley Stevens. A lot of the...
There are people calling it out, though. Chat's too white for this. Chat, you're also annoying. Stop criticizing and start listening. How the DSA... you're asking me how does the DSA include Black voters? Time card, thank you for the raid. Hi there. Hello. Welcome in. Hello. 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 Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Polls that we saw showed that Stevens had upwards of a 33-point advantage when it came to Black voters specifically. And even though Dr. Abdul El-Sayed did make inroads with the Black community, specifically young Black voters, he did still end up losing a majority of Black voters to Haley Stevens. I wanted to go ahead and highlight this specific comment because I didn't touch on this in the original video, but I've been seeing stories about this dynamic specifically within Detroit. This commenter points out, I'm a Black man from West Michigan, and I voted for Abdul. Most Black voters in West Michigan did as well, but it's a different dynamic in Wayne County. There's a significant divide between some Arab and Black communities there, and both historical and current racial tensions still exist. The area isn't as unified or diverse in practice as it may seem from the outside. If Abdul wants to beat Mike Rogers in November, he needs to speak directly to Black Americans. Dr. Syed is most likely going to have to rely on two establishment, quote unquote, heavyweights. Now, if you remember the Michigan Senate primary race, Barack Obama basically acted as an omnipresent figure throughout the race. Even though he didn't endorse anybody, AIPAC and by extension UDP poured a lot of money into this idea of Barack Obama endorsing Haley Stevens. And by Barack Obama lending his support and his star power to Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, he most likely is going to be able to firm up some of that support alongside Kamala Harris mobilizing her supporters to support Dr. Abdul El-Sayed should help alleviate some of that tension. But does it?
I mean, again, she at this point she hasn't even given any like takes so far. She's just giving like a recount of what happened during the election. She's just saying like this is what happened. Also, I love this comment, which is like, what does that mean? Speak directly to them. Did he not travel all around Michigan? Like, I love how people just get like fucking stupid when it comes to like speak to Black voters. Like, it's like it literally just they like their brains turn off, right? They become children. They're like, what does that mean? What does it mean? Talk to them. He talked to everybody. This is why leftists have they don't understand the concept of reparations. You know what I mean? What do you mean give reparations to people? You have to give money to everybody, kind of thing. Like they don't understand, like when a disparity exists, you have to target that disparity to correct that disparity. You know what I mean? Like that's an objective truth. If you don't do that, you're never going to correct that disparity. My phone is usually in my pocket while stream is on, so I don't see the watching in chat. Sometimes that's for the best. It seems like one of those times. Yeah, this is true. But it does exist, right? And it doesn't just exist in the chat. It extends beyond the chat. I think it's important sometimes to just see the way the chat operates, especially when people pretend the chat doesn't operate in the way that it does, you know? Give us into a church and then say what you're willing to help the community with. It's very simple. Yeah. Sunshine even leftist. It's just people in there to argue with them. No, there's leftists in the Sans chat. Well, self-described leftists, I would say.
Does it fully address the issue that we initially talked about in the previous video? No. Well, this is the part of the video where we have to talk about the Kamala Harris endorsement. Like if you personally ask me, why do I believe that Kamala Harris is advocating on behalf of Dr. Abdul El-Sayed? I think one, Harris wants to defeat the Trump administration. Like out of the gate, she doesn't like the Trump administration.
It confused me because Cuomo won the Black vote too. Yes, because a lot of older Black voters are very cautious voters. They're defensive voters. Okay. And they're also very invested in the establishment side of the Democratic Party's politics because there are a lot of trusted figures with seniority within the Democratic Party.
What was the ending polling for the your city? Let's see. Nope. This one. No. Bro, just give me polling by demographics. Give me polling by demographics by colored chart. I don't know if this is true. The site looks kind of suspect to me, but I'll bring it here. Because this is what I thought. Is this a new article? Or is this just a Medium article? Yada 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 yada. Filter by demographics, race. Okay, now. Here. Race. White men voted for Cuomo 49% to 42% to Mamdani. White women 47% Mamdani, 45%. Black men went 62% for Mamdani, 31% for Cuomo. Black women went 54% for Mamdani, 42% for Cuomo. Like, the only demographic that went for Cuomo was white men. So I'm confused. I didn't want to say it until I looked it up, but I was like, I don't know if that's the case. I was like, I don't know if that's true. I had to Google it because I was like, I was sitting there. I was like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Did he mean older voters? That's not what was said. It was said black voters went for Cuomo. Right? All older voters went for Cuomo of all demographics. Right? Like, black men were the strongest demographic for Mamdani. Right? White people, white women and white men were the weakest demographics for Mamdani. Right? Which statistically means that older people included in that average. Black voters went for Cuomo? No, they didn't. We're literally looking at it right now. I guess I did point to older voters, but that's not what the question was. The question was very specific. The question the chatter brought up was, it confuses me because Cuomo won the black vote too. Right? And the response should have been, no, he didn't. The answer should have been, he did not win the black vote. Because he didn't win the black vote. Is this the primary or the general? This is the general. The primary doesn't really matter, to be fair. It doesn't particularly matter. Right? I mean, that's kind of like saying that, if you look in South Carolina voted more for Joe Biden than Bernie Sanders, so therefore freaking black voters hate socialism. You know what I mean? No, but it seemed like it was 50-50 in the primary. And if we're only talking about the primary, then y'all are just doing teen sports and talking on black people. Exactly, right? You're literally looking for a very specific case where it serves your argument to dunk on black people for some reason. Right? You're like, we're gonna ignore when white people went for Cuomo to look for when black people went for Cuomo for some reason. You know what I mean? Final rank choice, black 50-50 Andrew Cuomo, Zohar Mamdani. White 26-74. This is a terrible way to show this. Give me a better graph. This is literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Just the objective worst. Before, but I want to share a color again. I'm not doing it for attention. Sure. Oh my goodness, this is also the worst thing in the world. Whatever. This is apparently showing the I actually don't know what this is showing, to be fair. It's not very wait, this just links a freaking Google Doc. I'm not looking at this. It doesn't even link an actual it doesn't even link an actual an actual like poll. It just links a Google Doc. Nah, I'm not looking at this, bro. If I made a better poll, then I'll look at it maybe.
Black vote too.
Is there data? I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't trust it, bro. If they can't present their data in a way that's okay, also different name change. If they can't present their data in a way that's better, I don't trust it.
Yes, because
wants to defeat the Trump administration. Like out of the gate, she doesn't like the Trump administration.
It confused me because Cuomo won the black vote too. Yes, because a lot of older black voters are very cautious voters. They're defensive voters. Okay. And they're also very invested in.
All right, this person, Cuomo didn't win it in the general, only won it in the primary. This person is correct.
The establishment side of the Democratic
Party.
And
even then, it was only the older black vote.
Politics, because there are a lot
I'm pretty sure he also won the older white vote too. According to that terrible poll.
Trusted figures with seniority within the Democratic Party that they lean into.
People, yeah.
You know, black figures within the Democratic Party who will come to the neighborhoods, who will go to the communities, who are from these communities, and will tell
anything about the older Latino voters and how they vote or how adverse they are to progressive politics. No, they do not.
Everybody, you have to vote for this person. This is the best person. This person understands us. That's it. It's not that. It is not because.
But I think he's using the New York primary numbers a lot for some reason. But I think that's literally the worst numbers to use, because the general numbers shows that Zohran Mamdani going to talk to people works, right? It shows that like you can win over even older black voters when you go and you speak to their needs, when you communicate with them, right? So Cuomo winning the black vote is literally irrelevant, like objectively irrelevant. That white graph had white 50 plus as 64-36 and black 50 plus at 65-35. So no, I have to open it back up. White voters voted for Cuomo even more? They did. Okay, hold on. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. White voters, according to this graph, white voters voted for Cuomo even more and Mamdani even less. Okay, voted for Cuomo the exact same. But voted for Mamdani even less. No, I don't, sorry. Voted for, let me read this. No, they voted for Mamdani the exact same. And voted for Cuomo, basically the exact same. This is a terrible graph. It's literally the exact same. He won the exact same amount of old people vote. It's broken down on exactly racial lines. Like exactly verbatim racial lines for the most part. One point higher for the blacks. The point of the graph, this is a repeated talking point. I mean, the graph does suck. So what's old voted for Mamdani? That's craziness. So even according to this, which is again, the graph still sucks. But according to this, older black voters like voted for Cuomo and Mamdani the same rate. There's no difference along racial lines. It's just an age breakdown. So like we need to correct that talking point immediately. Right? Because this feeds into the idea that black voters are just inherently more conservative. And older black voters are inherently more conservative. This is something you see a lot, especially from a lot of Hassan's chat, right? Crazy graph view, but Cuomo areas are white majority areas and black majority black populations are for Zoran. I am not even going to show this because I don't even know how to read that. He's on the graph a bit more. It's a bit too much context for me. I like my graph to be flexible. It's just it's craziness. That's crazy. It's this idea that like that black voters are like voting in mass for like establishment candidates. And again, I've been telling people that it's not true. And everybody's always focusing on I don't know. I think not to give any credit to David Crowley, but I think there's something to that whole like black equals establishment thing. After this, I'm starting to think that there's something to that whole black equals establishment thing. Because it's broken down exactly on age lines. The racial dynamics are exactly the same. White and black 50+ voters are exactly the same, but for some reason this chatter was like, black people love Andrew Cuomo. Why did black people vote for Andrew Cuomo? It's really just older equals establishment. That's true. Older does equal establishment. Older loves the establishment.
Because older black voters are conservative in their policies, that's the furthest from reality. Okay? Black voters consistently are the most progressive voting bloc in the country. As a demographic.
So even then, like some chatters have like good opinions. Even then black voters came around by the general, right? But like we're arguing on a false premise right now. So like none of this matters because the premise is false. If the demographics are broken down the exact same way. You know what I mean? It's immediately a false premise. The demographics are broken down the exact same way, but now we're arguing why black voters vote more in line with the establishment when they, using like Cuomo as an example, they don't. They don't. At least according to this stupid, sucky graph. Graph does suck though.
There are all sorts of empirical evidence to show over and over again that black voters, by and large, are far more sympathetic to socialism as an ideology than white voters are, than even Hispanic voters are. Okay? But when it comes down to it, and we're playing the game of percentages, right? If we're looking at
unquestioning loyalty to the establishment has provided no benefits for decades, keep losing rights. Like, again, it's a false premise. It's not true. White people are also loyal to the establishment. This is why it's so frustrating. There's so much disdain and ire towards black voters and older black voters. Like, white voters are not right there. White people run this country, bro. We got one black president and people are like, it's black voters. It's their fault. White people still, in all levels of government, hold a disproportionate amount of power. there is a disproportionate amount of white elected officials, a disproportionate amount of white staffers, a disproportionate amount of white representation, right, in politics. But no, it's the black voters. Do you think black voters should know better? No, it's something I genuinely think black voters like run this thing. They're just people, Sean. Everyone has a racist to white people.
If we're looking at who,
and this is the biggest problem, right? You know what I did when I saw, when I heard Andrew Cuomo won black voters? Do you know the one thing that I did when I heard that? I looked it up. That is what you do, right? When you don't let your biases guide you, right? But when you have this preconceived notion of black people being tied to the establishment, when something reinforces that bias, you're not gonna like question that. It's gonna be like, that makes sense. You know, that makes sense. When I read it, I was like, is that true? Did that actually happen? And if I looked it up and if that was true, I would have been like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that was true. But I looked it up and it turned out it wasn't true. It wasn't the case. Well, okay, technically it was true. Black voters did go for Cuomo, but they didn't go for Cuomo at a higher rate than white older voters. Right? And that's the issue. That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to get through to people. Right? They have preconceived notion and biases about black voters. Right? That gets in the way of them correcting, right? And reaching out and bringing people into the movement. That's the problem. That's the issue. Darty Gumball over the tier 1.
Black voters are voting for, it's usually by and large older voters that participate in much higher percentages, and a lot of older voters are a part of the Democratic Party's bulwark. It's turnout machine, and they will go and vote for who trusted individuals in their communities tell them to vote for. And the machine for the Democratic Party.
What he's describing here is true. It's correct. It also applies to white older voters too, and Hispanic older voters, right? And Asian older voters, right? It applies to all older voters, right? And I think it's important if we genuinely want to know how do we bring in and attract older black voters. I don't think the chat actually wants to know that. I think the chat wants a scapegoat. If you want my actual position, I don't think the chat genuinely wants to know that. When chatters come in here and ask me, how do you expect us to get the DSA? How do you want the DSA to get black voters? I don't think they actually want an answer. They want to scapegoat. They want a scapegoat. They want to complain. They want to argue. They don't want to actually fix these issues. The answer is very simple. They can do what they are doing already in the black community. And I can tell them that, and I do tell them that. And I say that consistently. Right? But they want me to say it so that when, like, you know, when the next black candidate loses or whatever, they can come back to me and be like, well, that didn't work, see, you were wrong, or whatever. Right? There's a way to ask a question when you want to learn and people don't come in here wanting to learn. Right? Okay, I'll have a take. There was also a tweet that went very viral, which is like, the worst part of woke one was the whole, it's not my job to educate you thing. Did y'all see that tweet? right? And I have a very interesting take on that. My take is this. Emotional labor and such, that's not even my take. Right? That's not even my take. My take is you don't even want to learn, right? People who hold that position, which is like, oh, I hate the whole "it's not my job to educate you" thing. We need to really, we should be educating people, right? Those people don't want to learn. The people who cry about people who say it's not my job to educate you, they don't want to learn. I know this. I've seen it myself because I've been trying to educate people. I've been trying to get people to understand their biases, and I've seen your reaction. I've seen the way you've reacted when I've called out bigotry. I've seen the way you reacted when I've tried to push back on blind spots. You don't want to learn. And so the moment when I finally tap out and say, all right, I'm done using my energy, right? And banging my head against the wall, you're like, oh, see, now it's not my job to educate you. Now you want to give up. Now you want to give up. That's the way I view that conversation. People have a misconstrued idea of how that "it's not my job to educate you" conversation went. It wasn't just a bunch of random people being like, guys, racism exists. And then a bunch of well-meaning white people being like, really? Am I racist? And then people being like, I'm not going to tell you. Find out for yourself. That's not how it worked, right? It was a bunch of people being like, racism exists. And people being like, no, it doesn't. It's like, yes, it does. This is racist. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's like, yes, it is. This is racist. No, it's not. It's like, okay, whatever. What? And then they do something again. It's like, we get upset about it. And then it's like, oh, why are you upset at us? Huh? You didn't tell us this was racist. You didn't tell us this was racist, kind of thing. Like, that's what happened. You didn't want to educate me anymore. Right? Because I think to a certain extent, right? I think like white people get off on like being centered during conversations, even when they're being critiqued about race, especially during like 2020. Right? That's the actual critique of like what people call woke one. It's not like marginalized people. It's not like a few trans people online using like neo pronouns or whatever that you hated and you found annoying. Right? It's not like I don't know, people policing you saying idiot or whatever. The actual like thing was white people considering themselves in the conversation, they're making it about them. But again, that's just liberalism. It wasn't woke one or wokeness. That's just liberalism. You hate liberalism. We all hate liberalism. Liberalism is bad. Every time I ask for tips on reading books on any subject, absolutely no one has said it's not my job to educate you. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it exists. Maybe it is. Maybe it exists. Maybe if I do a search on Twitter, I'll find a 2014 tweet of somebody calling out racism and them being like, oh, please tell me what I did wrong. And they'll be like, it's not my job to educate you. Maybe I'll find it. Right? But I think people are exaggerating just how prevalent these things were. Right? Just to do grievance politics. Anyway, that's not the point of the discussion. It's something that's just not about. Anyway, let's continue.
Only boosts turnout in one direction, which is the establishment.
Two, as everybody has guessed, Harris is most likely gearing up for a 2028 presidential run, and she definitely needs.
Is it fair to call them small c conservative? No, because they're not. They're not conservative in their policy demands. That's why I say they're defensive voters, they're cautious voters, but they're not.
That's also crazy because like they're the same like conservative as like white older voters, but like more progressive. Like sure, if you compare them to like an 18-year-old an 18-year-old white trans girl from a liberal town, then yeah, a 76-year-old older black woman would not be as progressive as that person, you know, for the most part, right? Just because she's just, you know, lived a different time period. But compared across, you know, the age bracket, that black person is going to be more progressive than, because that white person is going to be a Republican. That's the difference, right? You're going to take Deborah, who is 86 years old, who's white, who lives in Kentucky, and you're going to take, I don't know, give me a name. Give me a name. I was going to use my grandma's name, but I don't want to use my grandma's name. Marlene. I like Marlene. No, Mary. You take Mary. You take Mary, right? Who's an 86-year-old black woman, right? Who lives in Georgia, right? Take those two people. By and large, the black woman's going to be more progressive, right? Because Deborah would be a conservative. Deborah would vote for the Republicans. Statistically speaking, Mary would vote for the Democrats. Deborah is a Nazi. Deborah birthed Nazis. Okay, maybe not. But like, you know, statistically, they, you know, maybe. Right? So there's, for some reason, there's this idea that like older black voters are somehow more conservative than like one of the most conservative demographics of like in politics. And it's not. No, not Deborah. She seems like a nice lady. Yeah, she's nice to you. She's not nice to Jamal. When Jamal comes around, she's like, boop, boop, boop. There's another one here.
Conservative. Even the most socially conservative black man or woman, older, like the older voting bloc is still far more progressive in their policy demands and in their appetite for progressive policy than the same demographic that is white, the same socio-political standing, but white. Okay? That is the reality of being a black person in the United States of America, a country that has baked in white supremacy and anti-blackness, specifically anti-black white supremacy, into its fundamentals, into its foundation.
To have an answer on the question of Palestine, but she doesn't. I understand people that are fully apprehensive to the idea of Kamala Harris. Harris had the opportunity to fully separate herself from the Biden administration on the issue of Gaza. Which you have done.
So why do they hesitate to support us in the DSA? Is it just the word socialism? No, dude, no. Black voters have less of a negative opinion of socialism than white voters do. Okay? No. I'm telling you what it is. I don't know why people don't listen. Most Americans do not vote on policy. Okay? Most people just vote on vibes in this country. And for cautious voters, older black voters, that their likelihood of voting for someone revolves around who trusted individuals in the community are telling them to vote for. You know, church leaders, just a part of the Democratic Party's turnout machine.
Something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. You asked me what's the difference between Joe Biden and me. I'm going to have a Republican in my cabinet because I don't feel burdened by letting pride get in the way of
Like in the retelling of 2024, some people have overlooked how a lot of activists, the uncommitted movement, and young voters were initially supportive of Harris because they saw her as a potential break from Joe Biden's policy on Gaza.
Roman, I am a Georgia state representative. I'm an elected Democrat. I come from the swing state of Georgia. We are not here to create any divisions. As my colleagues have said over and over and over again, the only reason we are here is to ensure that Donald Trump will never make it to the White House and save the lives of the people that we love. It's about the fact that today I watched my party say our tent can fit anti-choice Republicans, but it can't fit an elected official like me. I do not understand. I do not understand why being a Palestinian has become disqualifying in this country.
But as Harris herself has admitted, she sadly listened to her consultants and continued to push forward the same tragic policies. I'm somebody that was supportive of Harris in 2024, but I find that I am not apprehensive or judgmental or angry at those that chose to sit out in 2024. Because even though Kamala Harris was the better option in comparison to Donald Trump, people were rightfully grieving the loss of their loved ones and their family members. Young activists had their phones flooded with images.
For white chatters who don't listen, it's called machine politics. When black socialist leaders got killed, no other group of socialists stepped up to fill the gap, so the Dem establishment, as was planned, stepped in to fill that gap and made the strongest voter base for the Dems. So even though black voters don't particularly like Democrats, survival voting and knowing local figures is what carries it. Yes. There's also a lot of, like, a big part of machine politics is also distribution of resources. Okay? Like, the reason why Jim Clyburn is such a towering force in South Carolina is not because he's black. It's because he gets money from the Democratic Party and he distributes those resources that he gets from the Democratic Party to local church leaders, to community organizers, hand-selected community organizers. So, of course, he is a trusted figure for his constituents. He has constituent services. Okay? And he's been doing this for multiple decades at this point. That's how you design a political machine. That's how you establish trust. So when, HBCUs, this is how you create a funding vehicle for black leadership that comes after you as well.
I'm back. Did I miss anything that I should go back for? Really?
The reason why Angie Nixon won with demographics that DSA normally doesn't actually win with is because, one, she is a trusted local politician. She's a trusted state politician as a black woman, but also because she had the backing and endorsement of every local black politician, every state level and local level black politician.
I will say this is the difference that I would say with Hassan than like the chat. I think Hassan actually wants to win. Like genuinely, I would genuinely say a difference between Hassan and the chat is that Hassan actually wants to win. I think the chat, a lot of chatters, you know, I talk about the chat as a generality. A lot of chatters are more concerned about holding on to the concept of whiteness than they are about like legitimately winning, right? So when they see a video like this, which is trying to permeate the space, right, and break through to say the DSA needs to make some changes if it wants to win black voters, their first concern is how it makes them feel specifically. Right? They take it as a personal attack on them.
In Florida. Okay? That's it. She has the connection to the community and she had the endorsement of every single pivotal.
It's crazy that we know for a fact that black voters are holding back the progressive movement, but we're not allowed to acknowledge it, let alone do anything about it. That is insane. insanity. I have to see. I have to see how long this person's been in the chat. I have to take a look, sees. I have to see. That's crazy. I can't even see how what month sub this person is. I mean, they're consistent chatter. I have to see if they've ever been in my chat. We know the answer to that. Oh. No, of course not. That is a crazy message. What did they say? I'll read it again. They said, it's crazy that we know for a fact that Black voters are holding back the progressive movement, but we're not allowed to acknowledge it, let alone do anything about it. This is objectively just not true. Objectively not true. Objectively not true. Black voters, when polled, are consistently the racial group most open to socialism. Black voters consistently are the racial group that shows out most for Zohar Mamdani, as I just showed you here, right? Black men, 62% to 31% for Cuomo. Black women, 54%, 42% for Cuomo, right? While white men and white women both showed up less. White men showed up more for Cuomo than they did for Mamdani in the general. The only group of to do that, by the way. Black people showed up more for socialist candidates consistently, right, throughout the country. But I've been trying to tell people, right, that this resentment stays, right? And people have tried to act like I was crazy for saying this. People were trying to act like I was crazy for saying that, like, this. Again, like, white leftists resent Black people. They do. And they don't understand that it's self-defeating, right? It's a self-defeating prophecy. They don't see Black people in community with them, so they assume that Black people are holding them back without understanding that stuff like this keeps Black people away from them. Black people don't want to engage with communities that are this. There's no other way to describe that. Black people do not want to engage with communities that have like this sentiment. Especially when it is objectively not true. Objectively not true. And this person probably thinks that they're a great leftist. Also, I have to know if he's a Plattner stan. I have to know if he's a Plattner stan. I have to know. Give me June. Give me here. I have to know. Okay, I don't think so. I don't think they typed about Plattner. I had to at least look. Oh, he's a Kyle Klinsky stan. That makes sense. Chatter, I'm never wrong. Chat, I'm never wrong about these people. Of course he likes Kyle Klinsky. Of course he likes Kyle Klinsky. Also likes Andrew Callahan, which, you know, say what you want, but Just taking a little look-sies. Although we'll never get the black vote, got it. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. I don't know. This person's just, hold on. Also, there's something I do here is that like whenever I see a chat like this in a song chat, I always preemptively ban them here. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Oh.
Also, I guess something.
Black politician from localities up to the state. That's it.
Of carnage from Gaza. So even though I myself was participating in relational organizing to get some of those people on board, it would be foolish of any of us to overlook their grief and their anger towards Harris. I laid this all out to say that Harris herself definitely benefits from aligning herself with progressives and leftists. It helps soften her image for 2028 when she obviously runs, in the words of Gavin Newsom, as a lifelong insurgent. That means that Harris needs to go ahead and start positioning herself as somebody that is antithetical to the Democratic
chat. I have not in my chat or in this chat. Your chat? Oh, why? Who's fighting?
establishment. I've seen some people argue that this is more beneficial to Harris, and I've seen other people argue that this is more beneficial to Syed. In reality, this is
not fighting, just a lot of back and forth.
Mutually beneficial. Harris wants to win, and it feels as though that she's willing to move with whatever the political wins are in hopes.
Oh, sorry, run back. I think this is an important part as well.
And I've seen other people argue that this is more beneficial to Syed. In reality, this is mutually beneficial. Harris wants to win. And it feels as though that she's willing to move with whatever the political wins are in hopes of winning in 2028. If you personally ask me, Harris needs to do way more than just a few appearances here and there and a few answers here and there to actually build back momentum for a 2028 run. And I honestly think there is a way for Harris to actually be able to mend her relationship with the pro-Palestinian left. But that would mean that Harris would have to grow a very strong backbone. And I don't think that's something that she's willing to do at this moment.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
After Dr. Abdul El-Sayed won his primary race, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed has sadly been inundated with one specific question. Do you disavow Hassan Piker? This question now has taken the place.
So something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to acknowledge. I know where it was. I lost it. Anyway.
Of the does Israel have the right to exist question that initially plagued his primary campaign.
When asked about Hassan Piker's comments on 9/11, Senator Bernie Sanders called it a dumb statement. Do you agree? Do you disavow those comments that America deserved 9/11?
Of course. There's a KR why we're watching this. I mean this one. I did not see that one. But the one I saw was like, yep, there it is. I wanted to show that one. Because it was like, again, showing that people are already primed, ready to pop off, you know? They're like ready, they're looking for something, looking for that one thing to be like, aha, I knew it. I knew I could hate this person, right? I did not see the one where it was like, dude, this is a K-Hive, why are we watching this? She didn't say anything wrong. She said nothing wrong here, right? Nothing incorrect about Kamala Harris. It's full analysis on what Harris would need to do if she wants to win, not whether or not Demi supports her or likes her or thinks that she's a good person. If Kamala Harris wants to win, and if she wants to mend, right, the rift that she does have with the pro-Palestine left, she has to do more work. And people took that to mean, oh, this is a K-Hive stand, but she must love Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? It's just analysis. But yeah, when people are already in prime to pop off, right? They're ready to hate.
Of course, it was a dumb statement. And of course, I think Hassan himself would say that was a dumb statement. He disavowed it. So yes, America didn't deserve 9/11. But, you know, to sit here and play gotcha politics with a dumb thing somebody said out of context that they disavowed themselves to say, oh, well, what does that mean about what you think? I want to be held accountable for what I say and what I do.
A lot of this stems from the fact that Hassan Piker has been a vocal critic of the country of Israel and its genocidal actions in Palestine.
Somebody said thank you for tier 1. 17 months. Also, me as midnight, thank you for 23 months. I appreciate it.
This Hassan has become basically persona non grata within democratic establishment circles. Like Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed is getting asked these questions, right? These questions about Hassan Piker, not only because the news media is actually interested in his substantive critique or support of Hassan, it's because he's brown. Similar to what we've seen with black candidates, Sayed now has to take on the mantle for his community and has to speak on behalf of every single issue and every single thing another brown person does. The whole conversation around Hassan Piker and the 9/11 comment has been... Like, can I ask the audience something? Are you guys genuinely that perturbed by the statements that Hassan Piker makes? You may not like what Hassan said, but the argument that Hassan Piker is putting forth, the idea of blowback, a boomerang effect to American imperialism, this is considered in certain circles as the imperialist boomerang. This is not new. Individuals within the American military themselves have spoken up about this. Like a lot of the conversations that people are having on social media, especially about modern day politics, feel more so driven from the lens of fandom and less about an actual tangible, substantive political conversation. No, I don't say this to dismiss the actual tangible policy differences between the left and the liberals.
Right, now they're on board, right? now they're on board. When she's defending Hassan, they're like, yeah, we got this. This is what I don't understand, right? If they can get behind her and agree with her when she's defending Hassan, why can they not get behind the critiques that she makes of like the DSA and progressive candidates, right? She's obviously aligned with you. Does that make sense? Like, obviously, this is not somebody who is like a Hassan hater. Obviously, this is not somebody who is trying to like, you know, steal Hassan's clout or whatever. This is a leftist, right, who is defending Hassan against attacks. And if you could understand that, you could also understand that this is not an enemy. Maybe their critique as a Black woman holds some kind of weight, right? That you should try to, even if you don't inherently agree with it, or if it, you know, reflexively makes you uncomfortable, maybe taking some time to sit with that instead of reflexively popping off with, this is a liberal, this is lip slop, she's a K-hiver, this is a shill, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of the point. I think the instinct is to disapprove of Black people until they prove they're worthy or something. Ooh, I had to take a second for that one. That one had to sit in my soul for a second. That one had to sit in my soul for a second. Hold on. That, yeah. Oh, okay. Cook. You just promoted from record to one of the good ones. Okay, y'all gotta stop cooking. Y'all gotta stop cooking. Y'all gotta stop cooking. Y'all gotta stop cooking. Y'all gotta stop cooking.
I think those conversations are substantive. What I'm more so criticizing and critiquing are the conversations that feel like what I consider endless circle jerks. Like, I initially wanted to call this like the human centipede, but that would have been a crazy graphic. So we have to go with circle jerk. There are sometimes conversations that are had that feel as though they are so out of touch with the actual lived lives of people. And one of the main drivers of that is the Hassan Piker discourse industrial complex, or better known as...
Oh, by the way, I think it's going to come back around at the end of the video when she gets back to critiquing the DSA.
Certain circles as Hassan derangement syndrome. Now, I don't like the derangement syndrome part of it because I do think there are actual critiques that people have about Piker. Like, I know people who are further left than me that have genuine critiques about Hassan participating in electoralism and the faultiness of electoralism as an ideology. I have people who don't believe that Hassan Piker has been strong enough on the Palestinian cause, even though Hassan is one of the biggest advocates for that. You know, and people can have their own opinions in regards to that. But I don't even think that's what's happening with the mainstream media.
Like, okay, this is also what's strange. People are like, ugh, children do, that's insane. So dumb people. Like, You are allowed to disagree with Hassan. It's okay. Those people are allowed to have the disagreement with Hassan. This is what I don't understand. I don't get that. She's not saying that she disagrees. She's saying other people. Yeah, and this is what chat's immediately like, no, wrong. You can't disagree. You must not disagree with Hassan. Those people, you can never disagree with Hassan. They're wrong. They're wrong. Like, she's saying some people have disagreements with Hassan and they're like, no, those people are tankies and ultras and they're wrong. Right? Instead of just being like, I mean, yeah, some people disagree with Hassan. That's fine. That's okay. That's okay. Because that's fine. That's okay. Right? I mean, Hassan says it later. Me and Hassan, we have strategic disagreements. And that's fine. We can have strategic disagreements. We are allies. We are allowed to do this. We are allied in the cause. He is not public enemy number one. I defend Hassan all the time. Right? The existence of critique is not inherently bad. Right? It's not inherently bad. Right? Some critique does come as bad faith critique. I do acknowledge that. Right? Of her saying that he's not preposterous enough. That's not what she said. See, this is the problem. She didn't say that. She's saying some people critiquing Hassan are saying that. She's not making a critique of Hassan. She's saying some people critiquing Hassan are saying that. She's saying other people are critiquing Hassan and they're saying that. She has not given a critique herself. This is part of the problem. Y'all are so ready to defend Hassan. You see anybody who just talks about critique in a general sense and are like, I must defend him with my life. That's it. Great question. I don't know. What did you say your number one strategic disagreement with Hassan? Electoralism as a strategy. It's chill. It's cool. I think Hassan finds it more valuable than I do. And that's fine. That's okay. I just don't find it as valuable as a strategy. Doesn't mean I won't participate in it. It also doesn't mean that Hassan won't participate in organizing, right? He just finds it more valuable than I do. Okay. That's all right. You know what I mean? We can align together to come to a conclusion, right? Of getting, things that are nice as a society. I'll also say third party. I would say that's bigger. Bigger would be third party. In the electoral space, third party, like discourse. Because I don't think third party is like a viable pathway forward. I think it can be given the right circumstances. Given people like put in the work, we agree that like the current third party infrastructure just isn't there. But nobody who likes the two-party system, bro. I mean, true, but I don't think it is without right choice. I think it can be. It will just take time. Right? I think right now people don't understand how I think we have again rose-tinted glasses about how big the DSA actually is as it pertains to how much power they're gaining. You know what I mean? So like they think that there's a genuine actual like structure, like a structural party there. Not specifically, but people like they think that when it's like, there's solid like 7 people. That's something. That's good. That's a caucus, not a party. Right? It will take time. It will take, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, 80 years, 100 years. Right? Parties rose and fall. Like when America was founded, there was no Republicans and there were no Democrats. They were like Federalists and anti-Federalists. I'm pretty sure. It's like a Whig party at one point too. There was a bunch of different things. Right? it takes time to like build these things up. And right now, with how much money is in politics and contemporary politics, right, you need to build a complete grassroots campaign, right? That's what the Green Party should be doing. I talk about it all the time. The Green Party should be directly targeting local areas and with uncontested races, right? They should take over cities, municipalities, districts, towns, counties. There should be entire Green Party governments happening that should expand out from like freaking Kansas, right? Nebraska. So they have a Green Party like state. So they have like a Green Party majority in a state. Then they get a Green Party congressperson. Then they get a Green Party senator. Then they get a Green Party, like, a few Green Party senators. And then they have an actual Green Party party. It starts from the bottom up, right? Grassroots. They don't do that though. So that's a problem. But I think it's possible. And I think it's a more effective route to get to my end goal of society than what the DSA is doing. But the DSA is actually doing stuff in the way that the Green Party is not. So I'm not gonna hate on it. I'll take it. W. That's my position on electoralism. Right? That's what I mean by like allies. And that's what I mean by solidarity. We are allied in our goals, even if we don't have the same end goal vision in mind. That's the way that I view it.
You're not even getting that on the mainstream media. What you're getting is...
I just saw you in here. I don't know if maybe I'm tripping.
Hassan Piker Brown, Hassan Piker bad. Hassan Piker Muslim, Hassan Piker bad. You could turn on Fox News at any time of the day and there's going to be a picture of Hassan Piker up there. There is this weird dynamic where the American news media seems to believe that Hassan Piker is like this albatross around the necks of politicians, when in reality, not to demean the work of Hassan, but most people don't know who Hassan Piker is. And that has less so to even do with Hassan and more so to do with the fact that most Americans do not consume political content. That's why the news media is literally collapsing as an industry.
There's no great conspiracy here.
Mm-hmm.
That in reference to some people seeing that you said Israel shouldn't be completely dismantled as a state and it will nominally exist.
Yeah. I don't think that's true. This is also frustrating as well. This is also frustrating. People will speak very confidently about what you mean, especially as a Black person. Because I literally showed you this happening earlier, right? I don't think Demi is speaking to a very specific thing that people are saying online, right? Hassan gets critiques from people in general a lot, right? Who claim that he's not pro-Palestine enough in many different facets, right? So I think it's strange for people to be like, oh, she's actually talking about this very specific thing, right? Because it puts Demi in this very specific box of being aligned with a group of people that she may not be aligned with. You know what I mean? And it's gross. And I think it's stupid. Because she was just saying like there are people who critique Hassan, right, from this position. I think it's dumb to apply that position to Demi herself. So they're just distinguishing genuine criticism from bad faith attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. People are fucking crazy. It's fine, whatever. And then they'll turn around and say, "Oh, he can't take any of these reasonable criticism, and that's why he's saying people are fucking crazy and all this shit." But it's like, what do you want me to say, man? People are living in fucking la la land, you know?
Right. And so now Hassan is addressing that specific criticism instead of the general point that she was making, which is there are good criticisms you can make of Hassan. Which I think that there are. Right?
People are living in goddamn la la land. What am I to do? Like the reason why.
This is a good point, though. She didn't say that. True.
I am receiving this much anger, this much enmity, this many attacks, is because clearly these people in positions of power have identified this movement as a real threat to Israel's ambitions, the Greater Israel Project, a real threat to continued support from the United States of America to Israel. No shade, but you're an easy target and effective. I'm not. It's not that I'm an easy target. It's the opposite. It's because I'm a hard target. If I was an anchor on MSNBC, I wouldn't be able to say the things that I'm saying. If I was running for office, I wouldn't be able to say some of the things that I'm saying or use language that I do and push the needle.
If he was doing it to defend Israel, you can say a lot of stuff. I mean, they let Bill Maher stay on the air, you know?
The reason why they're going this fucking hard is because under different circumstances, if I was an easy target, if I was malleable, I would have been fired 1,000,000 times over. That's the problem. My future father-in-law called my girlfriend and said to unfollow you because 50% of employers will see that and reject her, and that you were singing an awful song on stage that is clearly a banger. Yeah, it's whatever.
I will say, it would be kind of funny to get rejected from a job because you follow Hassan Piker. That would be a little bit funny. How's the thread still going? How long is the thread? I have to check how long the thread is. Too long of a thread. I'm not even too long. Didn't read. I'm gonna get rid of it. Thread's gone.
You can't entertain legitimate criticism when the premise of framing is disingenuous. The whole conversation gets nullified by it. Yes. You should probably be aware of how easy it is to rile you up. Thanks, chatter.
The reason why more people are talking about the DSA right now is because you have the mayor of the most important city in America who, first of all, is identified as DSA. But you also have people in New York City that have been saying some whacked out things. I think most mainstream voters would say they're whacked out things when this is about the Democrats.
Pretty funny. Joe is saying the exact same thing that Keith Edwards and AOC both said. Keith Edwards and AOC both said the exact same thing about the DSA platform. The same thing. I just want to point that out. And we all understand it when Keith Edwards, when Joe Scarborough says it. But when it's AOC, it's fine because she needs to win the election because, you know what I mean? But she said the same thing. AOC said she distanced herself from the national DSA and its platform. Because she didn't believe everything that's on the platform or whatever. And woke one was crazy.
Democrats, once again, fumbling the football.
I think that when people say you're an easy target is because you say more stuff. You are able to say more stuff, though. It makes you clippable. Yes. But if I was
easy target stuff.
If I was, you understand? It's time. I guess the argument is
on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke.
I do care about actions more than words. She has better action than he does, but it isn't great. Yeah, but your actions are just the exact same. Then, like, I mean, her actions are the exact same if you're just distancing yourself from the same platform. You know what I mean? So I mean, we'll pin your the chuck link. Like her actions are the same. It's just to demonize the DSA. No? Am I misunderstanding what her actions are? It's not like she's trying to get defund the police passed or abolish prisons passed. What is AOC doing? Like Medicare for all? Maybe? Like what policies is she trying to advocate for? AOC's constantly defended elected politicians to her left when they've been tagged as radical. She didn't throw Darlisa under the bus. I mean, she threw Francesca Hong under the bus, to be fair. She threw Francesca Hong under the bus. If we're going to be entirely real. That's how the woke one conversation started. She threw Francesca Hong directly under the bus. She didn't defend her and didn't endorse her. With the AOC quoting she went with the whole woke one thing, doesn't matter. The effect was the same. Westminster could have won it. Indubitably. I do feel like AOC has been here for the last few years, not doing a whole lot of valuable compared to other specific people. I agree. I don't think she's like not invaluable. Invaluable means very valuable. I don't think she's like worthless. That's the word. But like she used to be like literally she used to be on the cutting edge of progressive politics. She used to be in front of cameras, like pushing the needle forward. Right? She used to be herself grabbing the Overton window and single-handedly shifting it over. She has not been doing that recently. She just hasn't. And I think that is a fair critique you can make of electoralism, right? Electoralism effectively neutered AOC. There's usefulness in what she does. And there's usefulness in her positionality as a very popular progressive politician, right? But as she got more popular, she left behind certain positions. And it sucks. That sucks. It's really bad. That much? No, she got extraordinarily popular. I will say that. She got extraordinarily popular. She's one of the most popular politicians in the country right now. Not enough to become the president, I don't think. I think she's gonna lose. Right? But she's very popular. Mamdani. I think Mamdani's not as popular technically right now as AOC, I think nationally. But I think if he keeps pushing, he'll get there. She's not even making the primary, no shade. I agree. I think she gets, to be fair, I think she gets cut out of the primary. Like I think they screw her like they screw Bernie. I don't think she loses the primary because she like is like a bad candidate. I think she gets screwed. I don't think she wins the primary. I love the question of like, did Hassan lose the house? No, he was in somewhere else, Washington or something. I don't know.
I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke
Portland
to call out the obvious.
I don't watch Morning Joe because what the fuck do I look like watching Morning Joe?
Yeah, like this is it. Abdul Sayyid surrogate Hassan Piker threatens American Jews. You better speak out in favor of Hamas and against Israel, or bad things are going to happen to you.
Why does he live in Portland? Why Portland?
You know?
He's a millennial? Oh, that's fair. That's true. That's true.
Like
I'll
this
give you that
is
one.
there's nothing anyone can do in these circumstances. You understand that, right? Like I'm clear in my communication. I'm clear in my comms. The clips that they're clipping don't even imply what they're claiming it implies.
There's a bunch of
right, but
outside the tour. I saw some videos on Twitter. They were assaulting people. What? How did I miss that? Was it on Twitter? I freaking missed all of it. Dang, L. Safe house.
But it doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't even matter. That's all over Facebook, by the way. Just saw it. Yes, because, guys, at some point you have to understand it. Okay? These are very powerful forces.
Wait, who is Hillary Schulten? And why is she condemning Hassan Piker? I just scroll and I just see an official statement with a letterhead and everything being like, I'm like, and I see Twitch. I'm like, Twitch? Then I see Hassan Piker and I'm like, what? Isn't she the well-known cheater? Honestly, like on her husband, or wife, or partner, I respect that. Democratic Congresswoman in Michigan, I think she said she won't vote for Abdul either. What happened to vote blue no matter who? I think she was McMorrow's campaign manager. Yay, cheating. That's pretty funny. It's the same loser lady. I will say, it's kind of funny seeing people finally come around to Jasmine Crockett being like a vindictive loser. And people being surprised by that. Every time a Democratic politician endorses their opponent they lost to. Like Angie Nixon's opponent, like phone making or fundraising for her, and people are like, wow, Jasmine Crockett really sucks. So like, I've been telling y'all this. I've been saying this for years. It's mostly because, again, I would understand if she lost to somebody who like genuinely sucked. You know what I mean? Like if she lost to like someone who like genuinely was bad, but she lost to like the most like basic white dude that like it's the like she lost to a honestly she lost to a bowl of white rice. Why would you feel bad about endorsing a bowl of white rice? You know, James Tallarico is a bowl of white rice. He's inoffensive. He's just a guy. You know what I mean? Just campaign with him. Throw a little bit of black pepper on that bowl of white rice. It'll be fine. But man, she hates that man for some reason. A chaos anarchy erupts outside of the Hunt's event as far left activists clash with pro MAGA patriots in the streets of Portland, Oregon. Jeez Louise. This is Portland. Honestly, that's kind of what you would expect from Portland. It's just wait. What? I can't tell this person is I thought they were wearing an Israeli flag and also had a Palestinian flag on their back. No, it's a flag that says fuck Israel. Okay, I was confused. It's one of those things that's like, you know, those people who like wear like a swastika but like crossed out. You know what I mean? Or like those fake red, not even, I mean, kind of the fake red hats. Like, I still wouldn't, you know. I get you're trying to make a point. I still wouldn't personally. That's kind of how I feel. Regards insecurity too.
I'm not under the marquee. Don't fucking tell me what to do. Yo, hey, he's look. Not under the marquee. Let's go. Look. Oh shit. Oh man. Hit him. Hey. Guys, hit him. Hey. Why'd he hit him? Why'd you hit him?
Why are they acting surprised? Why are they like, oh, you're getting too close to the door? And then they're like, oh no, he hit him, oh no. Why are you surprised by that? He's just getting beat? I assume like one of the counter protesters.
Oh shit! Oh man! Hit him! Hey! Guys, hit him!
I don't think he hit him actually though. Am I crazy?
Oh shit! Oh man!
But he didn't hit him. He actually didn't hit him. He just extended it.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh man! Hey! Hey! Hey!
And then he just grabbed it.
Hey! Why'd he hit him? Get off! Why'd he hit him? What the hell?
And I was like, he just hit him. They're protesting MAGA? I think so. Are they protesting Fury End? I think so. I'm pretty sure. Bro, is there like nothing going on in Portland? And they were there to disrupt? John Oliver. I had beef with John Oliver. What happened on second channel? Oh. Hey, stop spreading second channel information. Also, I think on third channel information.
Horses, okay? Israel didn't get tens of billions of dollars, $300 billion over the course of 80 years by just simply sitting around. They've designed a very sophisticated influence peddling operation in the United States of America. And now they're deploying it in the direction of one guy that you happen to fucking watch, a prominent critic of Israel. Okay? I've never underestimated the Hasbara machine. Yeah. Watch, Hassan Piker warns American Jews of consequences for supporting Israel. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit, but it doesn't matter. There are a shit ton of people who think I'm a dog abuser. If you can get motherfuckers to believe that I'm a dog abuser, you can get them to believe that I'm a rapacious Jew hater. It's easier than that, in my opinion.
Oh no. The video statement? I know it's a statement. What is the statement? I believe all Americans deserve the right to advocate for what they believe in without fear of violence. This has been particularly true for communities that have been intimidated for their beliefs in the past. My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Anti-Semitism is a scourge, and we need to address it in all of its forms. I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be clear, crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. And while politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, we're going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and healthcare, because that's what Michiganders keep asking about. It's what I'm fighting to get money out of politics, money about getting Medicare for all. It's a good statement, actually. You just decided to entirely. Yeah, I don't know what the statement is about. So yeah, I don't know what the statement was. I don't know what the context is. But is it in the clip? Like this clip? I don't know. Maybe. It's a 17 almost. I almost played it, but it's a 17-minute clip. Bro, please tell me it's not this clip from somebody that has a pager emoji in their Twitter name. I thought, yeah, I don't watch clips that have captions embedded in the clip. I say at the Fear End show, one of the protesters called me the N-word. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, chatter. It made Israeli news. This is unbelievably this is an unbelievable and deceitful statement, twisting its words just like a MAGA Cretan Scott Jennings. This is gonna be a new thing, isn't it? So what is this clip? Oh, so this is the clip that Hassan was talking about here. Okay, we're just gonna watch Hassan talk about it. It's right. It's literally right here. It's this time step in the VOD.
Opinion. Okay. That's it. That's it.
If he watches it. Actually, I don't know if he does.
No matter.
Of Joe Scarborough.
Okay. Excuse me.
And you want to know why? Because people don't fuck with Israel any longer. And if Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that they are singularly invested in Israel, eventually someone's going to come around and take action, not against the state of Israel, mind you, but against American Jews. Okay? We're teaching people the wrong lesson. I don't know how people don't recognize how.
Okay, I feel like, okay, hot take. I feel like you can't put a clip. Like, I feel like you can't put a cut inside of your call out post. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need more context there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need more like whatever was just jumped between.
Dangerous this predicament is, how dangerous this is for Jews. You're running around basically tying your entire identity to a country that inevitably will be seen as basically Jewish ISIS. And you're saying, as Jews, this is all we care about. You're making anti-Semitism worse. And you want to know why? Because
that part is correct, though. This has been like the Jewish critique of Zionism as well, right? Yeah, they've been saying the exact same thing about Zionism and how like Israel and the existence of Israel and tying Israel to Judaism makes like Jews in America more unsafe. Like that's yeah. So I don't understand that his issue with this part particularly. That was Jewish people who've been saying this for 15 years, bro. Yes, I don't get it. Like it's white Christian ISIS. I mean, I guess, but like, I feel like we don't need to call things just like different versions of ISIS, because like, I mean, they're all just terrorists, you know. Like I feel like it kind of feeds into the.
She's my African princess.
Bold Claw just.
I don't know. There's a take there that's brewing. Bold thinking for the 15 months. Credibility, the line that people say about Muslims and how they should disavow Islamic extremism. Uncharitability, this is the line people say about Muslims and how they should disavow Islamic extremism and how somehow that's totally acceptable. But like this is uncharitability towards Hassan. I'm trying to understand. There's a lot going on in chat. Like what Hassan said is a real take, and the worst interpretation of it sounds like what Libs has said since 9/11. Oh. And they have no problem with that. That's, okay, I see what you're saying. They're being uncharitable to Hassan's thing. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I understand. I see. We're not finishing this VOD, now that I think about it. Because it goes until like right here. It's got an hour left, and I gotta go in like 30 minutes. This is the U.S. invention. The whole Islamic extremism is used to crush leftist movement in Southwest Asia, within Africa and South Asia. Is it the part where he mentions you? I don't know where that is, to be fair. Go to a more interesting part. I don't know. What is that? Into the Francesca Hong stuff.
Her stance on the issue
That big of a problem for the Guardian on how DSA is
equals the N-word.
Oh, here. Let's talk about this.
Nuance points. Can we be honest? I beg. As we discussed in my previous video, there has been this talking point that has been floating around that establishment basically equals the N-word. And David Crowley decided to present that argument to Wisconsin voters. I actually agree with David Crowley in regards to the term establishment being incorrect in regards to him. It seems as though that he did a lot of work as a public servant, but he hasn't really served in the highest levels of American politics. He's never been governor, he's never been a congressional member, and he's never been a senator. And Crowley,
again, so this is the part of the problem, which is that chat is, I think chat has a problem where they're so ready to spam as well, where like they won't even let the take finish, which is interesting because they also get mad when people do this to Hassan, right? The sentence isn't even over yet. Right? Like she didn't even finish the sentence that she is saying currently right now. She makes a good point. Ultimately, he scolds them later. It's happening a lot lately. And again, this is where the uncharitability like comes into. You're gonna see Hassan furrows brow, and that's fine. Like you could have a reaction to be like, "That's an interesting take." Right? I don't expect you to immediately know what her take is and then automatically agree with it, right? You are allowed to be like, that's interesting, right? But I expect you to give it a second, right? That's where like the concept of charitability come in, right? To be like, okay, I see. You know what I mean?
he doesn't seem like somebody that was created in a DNC lab. I actually think Crowley is more so a corporate
People
Democrat.
are like, L take, oh, fuck off. That's a stretch. This fool. You know what I mean? Gross. Sounds like bias. Woke of the day. L take.
Democrat and less so an establishment figure. And I do
miss. That's how that works.
think people like us who are using the term establishment as a pejorative do definitely need to come.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
She's hella confused. L, wrong. OMG. Semantics. Come on. Right? Then it's on opposite, and then it's like,
he's
completely wrong. L.
Gonna be an establishment Democrat. She's basically saying he doesn't even have enough.
Yeah, Shadow's being like, woke one shit.
Experience. She's saying he's a corporate Democrat. We use establishment and corporate paired up with one another, but David Crowley doesn't have enough experience to be considered an establishment Democrat. So in that regard, she's not wrong. We use establishment as a term for right-wing Democrat, as a term for corporate Democrat, as a term for a
I don't know how
do-nothing
it's a woke take. I guess it's because it's around black people. You're reading a ton shot? Yes. Is it semantics? And this is like, again, this is the issue. Like people consider this like a semantic argument, but I think it's an important thing to know, right? Is that, especially, do you understand how this matches up with the way that like the chat talked about older black voters, right? When the chat was like, older black voters voted for Andrew Cuomo, why? And it's because like, oh, they love the establishment. They love the establishment. That's why it's not semantics, right? Because that wasn't even true. That wasn't even correct. We looked it up. Older black voters, even in the primary, in the general, only white men. In the general, only white men went for Andrew Cuomo. But in the primary, right, older black voters and older white voters had the exact same breakdown for Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. Right? But for some reason, the term establishment was only utilized when talking about black voters when that question was levied, literally earlier in this same VOD. Does that make sense? When that chatter asked, why did black voters vote for Andrew Cuomo? And Hassan said, older black voters tend to vote more with the establishment, right? Nobody questioned, hey, isn't that also true for older white voters? Because it, you know, reinforced that same bias that people had, which associated black voters with the establishment, right? There is some truth that there is an implicit bias that attaches, right, black voters to entrenched power within the Democratic Party. Even though white people hold more power in this country in general, they hold more power in the Democratic Party in general, they hold more positions of power at all levels of government in this country in general, right? They're overrepresented in the staffer space in general. You know what I mean? But for some reason, when we talk about older black voters, we only talk about how they are tied to the establishment, but we don't, for some reason, talk about how older white voters are also tied to the establishment. You know what I mean? And so there is some truth to the way that people frame black voters as being inherently more conservative, right, as a voting bloc, when it is objectively not true. You know what I mean? Is Hassan saying that as an implicit bias, or is that backed by some empirical data? And was he talking about older black Michigan voters? Chatter, I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about. We weren't talking about Michigan. Nothing you're saying was a part of the discussion. Genuinely. I mean, I just came in. Exactly. And your first inclination is like, let me just defend Hassan real quick. Right. Let me just defend Hassan real quick. You know what I mean? The conversation we were having was specifically about Andrew Cuomo in New York. Right? And earlier in this VOD, a chatter asked Hassan why older black voters why did black voters vote for Andrew Cuomo? Hassan responded that older black voters tend to vote more aligned with the establishment for a few different reasons, right? I looked it up, come to find out that in the general, only white men voted for Andrew Cuomo, right? More than Zohar Mamdani. And black men voted the most for Mamdani out of any racial and gender breakdown. And, right, in the primary specifically, the breakdown for older black voters and older white voters were exactly the same. So there is absolutely no difference between older black voters and older white voters. But people somehow have this idea that older black voters are more tied to the establishment than older white voters. And it's not even just like chatter. I pull this up every now and then. Hold on. It's this take, right? This person says, as I've said, non-white Republicans are more fascist for the exact same reason that white male Democrats are more socialist. It's an ideological self-selection bias. Non-white Republicans and white male Democrats are unlikely to be in it for anything other than ideological reasons, right? This is objectively not true. But this is a bias that a lot of people have. A lot of people, because they tend to be white and tend to be, men themselves, see themselves in white men and project their political leanings onto white men as a totality. Polling suggests, right, white men are the least, as a racial and gender group, are the least open to socialism across the board. The least. They're the most conservative group in this country. They are the most Republican. They are the most conservative. They are the most reactionary group in its country. Maybe like closely aligned with like Hispanic men in under certain metrics, right? But even then, in totality, white men are overall more reactionary, right? And this is another example of that being the case, right? But because white people are not seen as a entity, as or as a racial group in the same way that like Black people are, or Hispanic people are, or Asian people are, right? Because that's the function of whiteness, nobody sees that. And so it's very easy to look at Black people, older Black voters, and see establishment without noting the fact that, like, by and large, most of the political establishment are white people. Even in the Democratic Party. It's just objectively true. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to yell at you, Chatter, but it's something that we talk about, we're frustrated by. I'm frustrated by it. But like that's the concept. Right? And so that's like, David Crowley was not saying that. So it's still F David Crowley. That guy sucks. He was not saying that. But there is a point to the way that the term liberal is, do you remember earlier, chat, when Demi brought up criticisms of Hassan? How other people have criticisms of Hassan? And how the chat was spamming like ultras? But they were never calling Demi an ultra. They were calling Demi a liberal. They were calling Demi a shitlib. Did you notice that? This is something that I talked about for pretty consistently. Right? Black people are liberals, white people are ultras. Even if you are more leftist, right? Black people are liberals, white people are ultras. If you're Black and you disagree with Hassan or you have critiques of Hassan, you're a liberal. No matter what the critique is, right? If you're non-Black, if you're white, you're an ultra. Or you're shit lib, rad lib, you're woke of the day, too woke. Does that mean a video creator? Yes. They call you a liberal and you're objectively more left than Hassan. So this reminds me of Trump one when he called certain countries shitholes, very specific language used in both instances. I released a statement about Hassan just now. Technically, it was 5 minutes ago because we just read it 5 minutes ago. So, where's it at? Where's it at? I mean, it's gonna be so sick if I had just opened it. It's right here. Yeah, we covered it. We covered it. I don't know if he needed to say anything, which is what my take would be as well. I don't think it's like a bad statement per se. Cause again, I'm super online and I didn't even know that this was like a thing. But yeah, I don't know if he needed to say anything. Go to Mike Rogers' page. Did Mike Rogers post about it? I don't know what Mike Rogers' thing is. This was today? Yes. This was posted like well, now it's 30 minutes ago. He said a song was Abdul's running mate. Oh, that's so silly. Does kind of imply that a song's comments were anti-Semitic. I guess. I don't know. I think it was I think it was a strategic misstep. I don't know. I think he shouldn't have responded, but I don't know. I think refocusing back on the policies is a good point. But I also think a written statement is just always not great. The video statement's always better. But that's my opinion. Was his response to that sound racist montage? Oh, come on, we know nobody cares about that. I will say I think it is interesting that like the clip of like Hassan being clipped out for like perceived anti-Semitism is like that gets a response from people, but like Hassan being clipped out supposedly saying lynchings were bad, Scott Jennings was like, this guy said lynchings were good, and then like everybody was like, bro, who cares? Bro, nobody cared, bro. Nobody cared. No, everybody was just like, bro. Nobody cared. Bro, that I do think that said something a little bit. You know what I mean? That like the day after like this clip started to circulate, Abdul had to post a statement being like, yes, it's a vow, it's a vow. But like, I don't know. It says a lot about his base. I think it says a lot about the type of attacks that kind of like Abdul gets just in general. Not anti-black attacks. God, it's so crazy. It's crazy. I got 8 minutes left. We're not finishing this video. Maybe we'll finish it later. I don't know. I have to go do my readings. And then go to my professor's office hours. Clarence love you yet, or what? Get that letter cooking. Oh, I forgot to tell Clarence. Clarence did say that I was his favorite student. So, W. Tokan later. I played Tokan this morning. I lost a lot, so I almost I did almost uninstall it. Anyway, I think I made my point, bro. Okay, chat. Because you fixed the AC, yeah. Clarence Thomas, no. Don't worry about it. OSAT scores released in 2 days, and I'm very nervous. Also, if you're the praying type, pray for my sister. If you're not, I don't know, get an Etsy wish for my sister. She's having a hard time at law school for her first year. So if you have any advice, I can't get very much. I haven't been in law school yet. Go visit her. I have my own classes. Like I can't go visit her yet. So it's her birthday soon. So give me money. I have to buy her a birthday gift. Science her? I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works. I think law school to one up his sister, classic sibling rivalry. You know it. At the beginning of the semester, better your education, go bother her. Listen. You watched Lanterns episode 2? I did watch Lanterns episode 2. Get to a destruction room? Like a rage room? True. True. Lanterns propaganda discourse. I mean, lanterns are space cops. I think you can enjoy a good propaganda show, you know? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Except for Blue Bloods. You can't enjoy Blue Bloods. That show sucks. Went to a local bookstore and a big chunk of sci-fi shelf was dominated by Dungeon Crawler Carl. I first heard about it only like a month ago and it sounded very bad. I don't understand what it is. That was a lit RPG. I feel like I missed something here. It's literally like he kills an enemy and there's a line like Carl's attack level has risen to 10. Yeah, kind of. Get wait for book 9. I haven't finished it yet. Also, I don't know if this is true. I think this person's lying. The boys are liars. The boys are liars. For the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello. I'm so sorry to get the raid and leave class. I have to go to. What did y'all do? What y'all talk about? What did y'all discuss? Foreign raid from a foreign land. W. I was here before the raid, by the way. No, I'll take that. Foreign died in a polar bear in Minecraft. L. Was Rage Quit in Minecraft? L. Spoiler. Lancer spoiler review. They have rings. Did Bonnie say it? Yes. 100%.
Mementi 19
100%. I did see Sina doubling down though.
88 Death Note dog.
Oh, it actually works. They actually gave me an extra sub. Yo, I've been doing this the entire time, bro. Can you everything with the 5 gifted subs? Much appreciated. Yellow Lanterns win. I don't think they're gonna do Yellow Lanterns until season 2. I've been trying to tell you. What does that mean? Because I'm doing a vertical stream, a vertical dual stream, Twitch is giving me extra subs for every 5 gifted subs. So like here, I'll show you. This is what my OBS looks like. It looks like a mess. It's my studio mode. So like here, I can just turn this off. This, and then it has this. So it's the vertical section here. There's a yellow lantern. There's like 8 different lanterns, bro. And they're setting up yellow, black, and red lanterns. I think they better not be setting up black lanterns. Why would they do Blackest Night so early? Blackest Night doesn't work if you don't introduce all the other lantern cores. Twitch and Amazon are getting sued for using AI on streams without consent. I honestly hope they lose. GTA 6 is looking pretty crazy, not gonna lie. Bro. Who's with me getting our commanding officers to give us 4 days off to play GTA 6? Boycott GTA 6? Listen. Well, why are we boycotting GTA 6? It'll be pirated. It will be cracked day 1. To do this Sinestro Core War. I'm surprised because okay. We know Guy Gardner is around. Right? He was in Superman. We know he's there. Right? So I wonder like what state the Green Lantern Corps is in. Because Green Lantern, when Green Lantern originally dropped, like after like Alan Scott Green Lantern, there was only like 13 Green Lanterns in the entire galaxy. And then you did Emerald Twilight, I think was a story where Hal killed them all, stole all their rings, became Parallax, then he died. Am I right on that? Then it rebooted. Then there was like a huge new lantern core. Then they introduced new color lanterns. From there. So I don't know if they're gonna do like, they're probably not gonna do like Emerald Twilight. They're probably just gonna I don't know, Green Arrow. There's a different story. I think oh, you're right. Okay, well, I can't say that because that's a spoiler, but you are correct that did happen. So it is after that time. Greenhouse, you legend. Is Kyle Rayner around though? Listen, Kyle Rayner gets no love. Because I go to class. It's 1:30, so I have to leave right now. So I had time. I could chill a little bit. I could chill. I hope they do my favorite character, which is, I think his name is Drakstar, or Larfleeze, or supposed to do readings. I did my readings though, I think. Anyway, I'll be back later, chat. No, I won't. That's a lie. If that's it, I'm gonna go do something. No love for the goat Mogo. I like that one animated series thing where Mogo allowed an assassin to land on his planet, allowed the assassin to like walk around his planet for days, run out of food and water. And then when the assassin finally decided to leave, he was like, F this thing, I'm leaving. He flew off the planet. Mogo drug him back down. He was like, nah, you ain't leaving, bro. Everybody go by next snap. Oh, no. Right into an stream. You did right into an stream because I have class today. I have class Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. So I hope you enjoy that. In conclusion, do your daily condemns of Hassan, of course. Because I know I will. I know I will. Your sister, thank you. I hope my LSAT score is good. I do hope it's good. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. If it's not good, I will cry. You will see me cry on stream. I've only cried on stream twice. It will be a third time that I cry on stream. All right, bye YouTube chat. Bye YouTube chat.